Today I'm going to be doing something a little risky, a little dangerous. Just kidding. No. I'm going to be checking out a video recently posted by SomeOrdinaryGamers, aka Mudahar. He made a video on Andrew Tate, who's currently really just kind of flying through the news cycle right now. Everybody's discussing him. A lot of videos and a lot of TikToks and a lot of stories have popped up from teachers talking about like their 11 and 12 and 13-year-old male students becoming Andrew Tate fans on TikTok and sexually harassing and abusing their female classmates. It seems like there's an epidemic right now of young teenage American boys watching Andrew Tate and then taking out those political beliefs on the women in their lives, their teachers, their classmates, etc. It's not like, oh, what about the kids? It's like they're actually like calling their female classmates whores and saying you use men for money, and then the teacher asks, "Where did you hear this?" And they say, "Andrew Tate, he's based." Like, it's getting a little nutty right now. Like 11-year-olds are doing this shit. There's been stories of this shit coming out. So pretty wild stuff. Andrew Tate has a massive following, of course. None of his ideas are new. There have been, going back decades, people exactly like Andrew Tate who have just pressed the exact same ideas and have gained the exact same level of traction. It's just usually wrapped up in a different coat of paint, just slightly, just slightly, just slightly. And of course, there's always a new generation of young, dumb people to fall for it. And, it always leads to bad stuff, usually. The more people that believe horrible, misinformed, and hateful ideologies, the worse. That's my personal opinion. Anyway, Mudahar recently made a video on Andrew Tate, and for those of you guys that don't know, Muda and I have talked briefly. I think he's a member on the channel, and obviously follow each other on Twitter. We've talked a little bit and stuff. We're not like super close or anything, but I think he's a cool guy. He makes awesome videos. If you like his deep web exploration stuff, definitely has kept me up till like 4 a.m. More than once, to say an embarrassing amount of times, to say the least. However, my first ever direct interaction with him, what actually started my actually being acquainted to him, was actually me calling him out for some a little bit of a mistake he'd made in one of his videos. You see, back in the day, he'd kind of referenced the Pepe being labeled as a hate crime thing, as though the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, had just outright said no matter what, using Pepe the Frog in any context is a hate crime, and that is more or less the sentiment of what Muda had said that the ADL had said. I, of course, called this out and pointed to exactly what the ADL said, which very strictly said in multiple points, like, obviously not every use of Pepe the Frog is bigoted in nature. It is important to look at the context of its use to determine whether or not it's being used in a hateful context, which is just literally the most perfect possible take you could have about it. And what had clearly happened was Muda had been fed very filtered versions of what the ADL had said, and just hadn't really taken the time to go out and read what the ADL had said directly, which I don't really think is a bad, like, I'm not morally condemning Muda for that. However, I do still think it's important that if somebody who has a large audience says something that either I feel might be wrong or I even know is misinformed, I do think it's important to point out, even if, I'm cool with that person or I agree with them, or even if I think they're super chill and cool, which I do think Muda is super chill and cool. I don't plan for this to be like a big call out or anything. I actually think this is going to be more of a educational video, not so much for Muda or his audience, but for us. Because my audience, and I imagine maybe Muda might watch this video, and many of his fans might as well. You see, I'm a lefty care lord, okay? I'm a political care lord. And I spend a lot of my time and effort reading about politics, researching politics, and frankly, witnessing the consequences of certain political activism taking place. So, for many of you, it may seem as though somebody like Andrew Tate or Alex Jones, etc., like the only real effect they have is they post random, dumb, funny videos on the internet, right? And they're super dumb and stupid and funny and ridiculous, but at the end of the day, that's all they're really doing. I, on the other hand, do actively every single day, almost every hour of the day, engage with the consequences of their activism, whether that be the people who agree with them or reading news stories about people who agree with them doing bad things. Across the board, I'm just constantly faced with the consequences of people like Andrew Tate having a platform and being able to freely spread their ideas. Now, I believe in free speech, obviously. I'd be out of the job if people like Andrew Tate didn't have free speech. Hell, I'd be in probably a jail cell right now if we didn't have free speech, considering how much I criticize the last and current president. However, with that said, I think that Andrew Tate and what he does goes beyond free speech. I don't think it's really a free speech issue. I think it's a platforming issue. Free speech and platforming they're issues that are related, but they're very oftentimes conflated. Bars. They aren't the same thing. And one of these things is good, always, and one of these things is usually good, but not always. Free speech is always good, no matter what. We should always have free speech. I don't believe that somebody should ever have their rights as free speech taken away, obviously. However, someone's right to a platform is a completely different discussion. Andrew Tate getting banned off of YouTube or Twitch or Instagram or TikTok is not him taking away his free speech. He's still able to say and do all the things he could before. It is simply him losing access to an app created by a private company that he agreed to the terms of service of when he made his account in the first place. Now, many people like to say, oh, so when you get banned with a false strike, then you can't complain. It's like, no, I believe that TOS should be fair and accurately applied. However, Andrew Tate most definitely has broken the TOS of the platforms he's agreed to that he currently exists on. Not only that, but I think I can make a strong moral argument as to why he should be banned off these platforms as well. And just generally, I think there's a very good, just general, like, utilitarian argument to it as well. Like, if we're just trying to maximize human happiness, then Andrew Tate getting banned off of these platforms would absolutely be a positive. I really don't think there's any reasonable perspective you can look at this issue from that isn't in favor of Andrew Tate's beliefs in which you don't want him banned. However, that is something that I lack. I want to hear Mudahar's explanation. He might have a well-reasoned and, well-thought-out position on this that I might want to consider. I consider Mudahar a smart guy, even if he's been incorrect about things in the past. I don't think that he's like a right-wing chud. I don't think he's like ideologically driven. He's not. I don't think he's ideologically driven at all. I think political issues come in front of him from time to time, and he gives his take on them, and sometimes it's not perfect. But who knows? Maybe we end up agreeing here. People in chat just sent me this, and they told me I should watch, so let's go!
This man right here, ladies and gentlemen, is Emery Tate, a chess savant warrior who basically was one of the best chess players in the United States, period, possibly even the world. And of course, his sperm spawned two individuals, Andrew and Tristan Tate. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you might have heard of who these guys are, and boy, I went down this rabbit hole pretty deep. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to understand, Andrew Tate's been blowing all the way up for the last 2-3 months over TikTok, which explains why I'm a little late to the party. I don't really sit down there, and the only reason I know about this is my buddy Kyle was the one who introduced me to Andrew Tate. One night, we were just sitting playing a game of Factorio, and once I went down the Andrew Tate rabbit hole, I watched a few compilations, and I was like, this can't be real. The best way to describe Andrew Tate is this is the kind of guy that goes on poll, and he's like, I feel this. These people are onto something. Andrew Tate's the kind of guy that's sitting in your entire friend circle. And
as you can see, Mudahar is not a chud. He is a normal person. Really, there's no other way to put it than he is a normal person. He really is. By the way, for any of those who are wondering, this will be a transformative reaction video, of course. We don't do that normal, anyone who's new here who doesn't know, we don't do that general Twitch streamer reacting to a video, stealing the content thing. We're pause Andes here, okay? We're pause Andes.
You know, you're just chilling doing nothing, and he's the guy that goes up and says, I don't understand why they don't put the Special Olympics on Comedy Central. Now, of course, the absurd statement that is, people in the room probably go, oh, you wacky boy right there, to which Andrew Deadface looks you right in the eye and says, it wasn't a joke. Now, the word misogynist could best be described, according to a quick Google search, as a person who dislikes, despises, or is strongly prejudiced against women. Of course, I feel like these definitions should get a picture representation, because both Andrew and Tristan Tate match it. And of course, hey, why shouldn't it? They're pretty much self-admitted at this point. Now, of course, to start off with, I'm going to show you some outlandish mentions, and show you just why Andrew Tate's been blown up all over the YouTube Shorts TikTok algorithm. Now, Andrew Tate's big benefit is his amazing charisma. This man can literally speak a mile a minute and make an absolute point sound cogent, even when it really isn't. And when he's not debating with geniuses like XQC and Aiden Ross. Now, of course, in a lot of these cases, Tate is debating on the principles of being red-pilled, of being a man. So let's get into this whole scenario. Andrew Tate explains to women why females shouldn't sleep around. I gotta listen to this one from our boys at Million Motivations. Let's listen to this.
Female promiscuity has always, across every culture that's ever existed, been frowned upon. If you were a
Absolutely, caveman, you understand.
That is not a coincidence. It's because females are designed to meet a man, get pregnant, fall in love with said man. If you keep sleeping with X dude, X dude, X dude,
hold on.
Plan Bs, taking the morning after pill, that cheapens you. It doesn't matter if a man slept with 20 girls or 200 girls. He is still the man. If a woman slept with 200 men, she is worth less. This is the basis of the game.
I want to point out, by the way, this has 24,000 likes. This is from a clip channel making YouTube shorts with 24,000 likes. 24,000 dangers to women out there. 24,000 potential rapists. That's gotta be... Dude, watching anything about Andrew Tate's popularity must be so scary as a woman. How many women are going to just become not dating? They're just not gonna date anymore because of this for a while. Because holy fuck, this has got to be terrifying. Like, you never know if some dude you meet on a hookup app or some dude you talk to at a bar or some dude you meet anywhere, like, you don't know that he doesn't have, like, on his phone, like, following Andrew Tate. You don't know. Motherfucker might be taking Andrew Tate's date rape advice.
No man is gonna marry a woman that 200 men slammed and threw to the street.
Now, if you haven't caught on, the Andrew Tate debate strategy is talk really fast, speak really loud, and hopefully you'll look like the smartest person in the room. Throw in some anecdotes, lived-in experiences, and, I don't know, maybe some biological fact, slightly mixed in with a whole bunch of misogyny. Maybe you might get through. Now, ladies listening into the room that were just sitting there and didn't walk out, have some self-respect. If you hear a guy talk like that, red flags all over the room. Young ladies watching, if a guy talks like that, get out of there.
For the record, Andrew Tate pays random, like, attractive women to sit in his studio while he talks about these things, because this is a very common thing. You get a lot of women around you, and people on the internet will think that you get a lot of women because they're too dumb to realize, wait, you can pay women to look like they like you. You can do that. I recently saw, actually, this is a really good example. I recently saw, listen, I hate Seth Meyers, okay? I hate Seth Meyers with a fiery, burning passion, okay? My skeleton literally ignites with eternal flame, with the rage that boils in my blood when I see Seth Meyers' face, okay? That motherfucker is annoying as shit. I can't put into words how much I hate Seth Meyers, alright? However, I was watching Seth Meyers because he was on the TV and my mom was watching him, and he was doing an interview with Ice-T. And Ice-T was talking about when he first got into the rap game, and he was like, at first it was like, he claims it was like real, and it was real, and he was actually from the hood, and he actually engaged in real, like, criminal activity back when he was younger, and it's like, okay, well, I think he's legit. I can't remember if he's legit. There's a lot of people in the rap game that are not, that claim they engaged in some hard activity back in the day, didn't actually engage in said hard activity back in the day. But he said that, like, he's legit. Okay, I heard that he was, so. But I also heard that many people in the rap game aren't, so just curious. Anyway, he claimed that once he started to get really big, and I think he killed a dude, yeah. Once he started to get really big, he talked about how he would be doing, like, photo shoots and music videos and stuff, and he'd be like, doing like a scene like in a hot tub with like a bunch of girls in bikinis, and he'd be like, it's wild how much that stuff isn't even real, man. Like you're doing like a shot, like a scene for a music video, and you're in a hot tub with a bunch of girls, and like their boyfriends are sitting there right out of frame and stuff, and like as soon as the shot's over, they get out and they go and they leave, and it's like none of this shit's real. It just People are very easily fooled into believing that a glamorous life that celebrities put forward online is real. They don't really take a second to think, oh, wait, this person has shit tons of money and can just pay women to sit there and look like they like him.
Chances are you're not going to have a good relationship or anything fruitful with a guy like that. Now, of course, to get back to the idea of like value, sleeping around, all that nonsense, Andrew Tate paints it like, hey, if you're a man, that's totally cool. If you're a chick, you suddenly lose all your value. See, this is things that nobody's experienced in the real fucking world yet, because Andrew Tate's talking to a bunch of young guys that haven't really gotten past anything. They don't have jobs. They don't really have anything going on in their life. They're trying to look at the quickest, fastest way to success. And they see a guy that has some success, this guy uses image intimidation and basically tries to pass it off like he's got all the secrets. At the end of the day, all right, let me just tell you something. In the real world, all right, wouldn't the value of a man also drop to potential partners, male or female, if they're also known to be sleeping around? Isn't it alpha and trad to also, just be a normal guy, focus on yourself, and if you find a partner, man, woman, realize that you also at one point also have a mom too, and you gotta, show some respect, right? Like if you're gonna date a chick and you're gonna have kids with them.
Listen, I respect you, Muda, but Andrew Tate would not listen to this argument, though I'm very glad he's making it, because there's no doubt some amount of crossover in Muda's audience and Andrew Tate's audience, simply because Mudahar is so fucking huge. He is a massive YouTuber. Like, in terms of his popularity and his scale, I see memes about him all the fucking time, which is really, like, I will literally, like, one time I was in a voice chat, like, for a WoW guild that I was in. It was for, like, Classic WoW. I was in a guild voice chat, and people in the chat started spamming memes about WoW, but they were, like, Mudahar meme formats. And I was just sitting there like, this man follows me on Twitter, and people in this WoW guild are just spamming memes of his face. Like, and they don't even know it's like that meme at the party, they don't know he follows me on Twitter, But no, it's like, he's very, very popular. He's got a massive audience. I'm not saying that he's got like a huge chud audience. What I'm saying is some amount of people watching this video needed to hear it. And as simple and basic of an argument as this may sound from Muda, and as much as Andrew Tate fans and Andrew Tate himself would laugh at it, at the idea that a man's value could be reduced by him having more sexual partners, unlike women, it is still something that some amount of his audience needs to hear, and I'm really glad he said it. Obviously, I don't disagree with anything he said so far.
And you're going to start a family. Isn't it also ideal you don't sleep around and whatnot? You take to actually making money, you take to raising your children and treating your partner right. Isn't that the true trad alpha mentality? Because realistically, sleeping around just shows that you really don't have any place to put down roots, or you're not truly able to commit to actual serious things, which shows how much of a beta kid you actually still are. But of course, that's just me saying it. Then again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the kind of refutation you have to make. Talking to Andrew...
This is good. He's fighting fire with fire there, pointing out the hypocrisies in the argument using the same exact thought process these people use. It's a very good point. Yeah.
Tate is pointless, because Andrew Tate literally will just not take any of this to heart. Anybody can talk to him, the smartest people. Realistically, the actual call to action here is trying to speak to his audience that he's trying to hit. If you're somebody that follows Andrew Tate and you want to be this alpha traditional guy, this is the last person you should be hearing. And again, before we even jump into that, you have to look beyond the misogyny and look at the history of this person's character and their actual behaviors on the internet and in their professional life.
I like this one too. This is even wilder. So this is where like Andrew Tate talks about his grandma and why when they were having a family reunion, everyone was impressed that grandma herself was a mega breeder box. Listen to this one.
They all had a bunch of kids, blah, blah, blah. I stood there and looked at my 93-year-old grandmother, and there was a whole room full with maybe 70 people that came from that one woman. Isn't that remarkable? Yeah. That nobody cared about her career. Nobody asked what job she did. Nobody asked how many times she went to the club. Nobody asked if she had time to go to festivals. No.
Now, beyond the weird...
God. Can you imagine? I feel like... Listen, chat, I've taken shits that have been so painful, I've considered taking the easy way out. Okay? I've taken shits so painful, I've considered taking... I've thought death would be preferable to having to continue through that, okay? I can't imagine birthing 70 children. What a... Built different, frankly. Absolutely built different. You need fiber? No, I just eat nothing but steak. I've been taking Andrew Tate's advice, and I've just been eating nothing but red meat, And yeah, it's been real tough on my digestive system, but my testosterone's been off the charts. My balls have grown three times larger. It's insane. No, I'm pretty sure doing that would kill you. That's like not actually possible. Yeah, I'd fucking die.
Facial expressions of the women here, obviously discomforted with this reality checking. Ladies, once again, run away. It really disgusts me to see how Andrew Tate views their own grandmother. You know, if you're not concerned about your grandmother's lived-in experiences, her career, her life.
I think what he meant by 70 people that came out of her vagina, I think what he meant was she was the oldest of a, like, living generation, and there were her kids, her grandkids, and maybe great-grandkids there, totaling 70 people, and he said they all came from her vagina. That's a very weird way to view women, to say the least. He said 17. No, he said 70, I think.
Before she ever had children. Maybe that just makes you a really shitty person, not asking your own family member about that. You know, when I look at my grandmother or my grandfather or anybody in my family, I'm looking at them as a whole person. But I have to ask the people that follow Andrew Tate, the top G's, if you will, how could this logic not be applied the other way around? You know, imagine if you had a guy that never had children. Would you suddenly invalidate them in their worth? What if both men and women, let's say in this case, both A and B, achieved an amazing thing in their life, changed the world for the better, you know, left behind an amazing legacy, had a great career, started an amazing business? Is them not having children by any stretch of their imagination suddenly invalidating their worth? You know, if you think like that, you have a really shitty mentality and a really shitty viewpoint on people in general. In this case, it proves wholeheartedly anybody that believes this way is a completely immature person with no understanding of the real world.
Now, I like reading the comments to some of these, like, some of these, like, red pill videos right here. She wants to be a doctor. Imagine Miss Do Whatever the Fuck I Want performing a triple bypass surgery on you.
Yeah, it's not like people don't age past their 20s and grow and mature. But of course, let's entertain this comment for 1 second. Imagine this person goes to medical school, becomes a cardiologist, starts performing these.
You can't see it past the text. That comment has 13,000 likes. Oh yeah, by the way, there are a lot of dudes out there, like, that when you corner them and ask them, hey, would you want a woman doctor or a man doctor to do a life-saving surgery on you? A lot of them would, like, what, I would, oh, it would, like, many would just straight up answer man doctor. Some of them would answer, oh, woman doctor, because they want to, like, overcompensate. A lot of them would take a few seconds to answer. A lot of people, a lot of men, would take a few seconds to answer. And that says a lot, doesn't it? Doesn't that say a lot?
Triple bypass surgeries. You think they're actually going to be allowed to do this without any form of training and certification? Clearly, if they passed and became a doctor, they're good enough to perform that surgery on you. So this becomes a completely moot point.
I'd argue what makes someone happy is community, which can be achieved through having kids, but that isn't the only way. My great aunt never had kids, but she was a great support system for the whole family and everybody loved her. It didn't matter that she didn't have any children. Community can also be achieved through clarity and making a difference in the world. Not to Andrew there. Pure fact.
200 likes on that one, by the way. Xander Hall, is this a baller segment so far? I'd say it's pretty baller. Definitely pretty baller in my opinion.
I work for a woman that chose a career over having children. She considers her pets as her children. You can tell that she's going through a midlife crisis at the moment. No kids to pass down her, and her husband's genes and legacy, and it's too late for her to have kids. Instead, she keeps chasing frivolous thrills to convince herself she's still youthful.
So again, the anime profile picture in this case believes that this person, clearly who has picked their career over having children, treats their pets as animals, is going through this looks to go through this midlife crisis, hasn't confirmed it whatsoever, and of course hasn't come to realize that everybody is different. Some people just have.
Okay, this motherfucker's name is Jed. That's all you have to point out. I'm gonna be real. Just point out Jed is this motherfucker's name, and he's lost.
Different belief sets in life. Some people choose to live their life in a much more different way. It's not as binary and simple as you may think. And again, could this logic also just be applied to men that have chosen a career and then have decided to completely forego having a family? This kind of midlife crisis depression could spawn in both genders if we're going by this logic. Again, I don't understand why these people just can't look at it both ways. I don't understand how that happens.
By the way, this is like the level of, like, the top G bros of the Andrew Tate clan aren't even like the seemingly well-meaning, like, MGTOW types that talk about, like, male suicide rates and depression or anything like that. The Andrew Tate fans, like, he doesn't even talk about men's health or men's well-being or men's mental health or anything like that. Like, that's not even he doesn't even, like, use that as, like, you know, something to try to, like, give himself a little bit of legitimacy, like many of the people that came before him did. He just outright says, no, bruv, you want to be an alpha male, top G, bruv, top G. I love doing impressions of him because it gives me an excuse to be racist towards British people.
happens. And I just want to present that as the question, if you will.
I like this one. Why men shouldn't have women friends. Let's watch this one.
No. I'll just tell you
Based.
why. Personally,
You ask the men.
I have 0 female friends. That does not mean I'm not polite to women. Doesn't mean I don't have female acquaintances, right? Doesn't mean I can't meet all of you and say hello to you and see you on the street and say hello to you, etc. But the idea of having a female friend, someone I hang out with often, who is my friend and we're purely platonic, is garbage. It's garbage because as a man, I'm spending 99% of my energy finding a sexual partner, and any partner of mine who I'm also having sex with, my girlfriend, my wife, whoever it may be, she is my friend. There's no benefit from female friendship outside of the friendship I'm going to get from my partner. Truthfully, it can really be the same the other way around.
Holy fucking shit. Every single one of those women in the room has the same face. They have the same expression on their face that every girl I've ever explained, like the mechanics of every girl I've ever talked to about Hightail had on their face. Every girl I've ever ranted to hours to about Hightail had that exact same look on their face. That's how you know. That's how you know.
If you have a man and you truly love him and he's your guy, you shouldn't really need other dudes. That's the truth. You shouldn't. But
Now, I kept all that context in there so nobody can say that I cut anything out. Now, it's just weird to hear this. Again, I like to ask the fans of this guy how this makes any logical sense. It really shows a stunted view of the real world. Again, imagine, as a man, you have to spend 99% of your energy finding another person to bang. Now, of course,
Okay. The Sigma male alpha whatever the fuck hating women stuff. The only natural step from here is people like Andrew Tate unironically advocating that the most alpha Sigma male thing to do in the world is to be gay and to only have gay sex, to only date men, only talk to men. That is legitimately going to become the next conservative chud alpha male position that they take. I swear to God, it is, okay? There are a whole lot of in-the-closet, self-hating, sexually repressed gay men out there that will absolutely jump on board with that ideology of, no, I'm not gay, I just hate women and I'm an alpha sigma male. 100%. 100% they'll do that shit. On God. Non-binary doctor for the win. How are you guys still talking about the gender doctor thing? That was like 10 minutes ago.
Of course, if you're sitting outside in the real world, like I go to work, I have plenty of male and female friends and coworkers, people that I consider my friends. Obviously, if I have friends of the opposite gender, it doesn't make them more important to me, romantically than my actual girlfriend. Obviously, real people in the real world are going to have plenty of friends from both sides. I don't understand this weird view. And again, it's a really non-alpha view of people who are like, hey, I have this friend, she's a woman. Clearly, we can't just have a platonic normal friendship. Clearly, we can't talk about hobbies or, stuff that we do aside from work or anything. Or we can't hang out in general. Unless, of course, there's some deep, dark sexual tension. It's like some weird biology class, some basic shit that you're implying, not adding to the fact that human beings are actual creatures that go beyond just base carnal instincts.
So, one of the things that I've never seen anybody point out is that everything that Andrew Tate says very strongly suggests he doesn't have a personality. Or he doesn't expect any of the people he gives advice to have a personality. Like, it doesn't really matter what hobby you're into or what you enjoy or what your thing is. Everybody has a thing. My thing would honestly be gaming and politics. Those are my things that I'm really into. Gaming and politics, right? No matter what your thing is, if you meet people that are into that thing, you're going to meet women naturally while doing that. And at least one of those women at some point might be interested in you if you just act like a normal, nice person, and you're going to have a crossover in interests. And hell, you don't even have to be in a relationship. You might just have a friendship. This tells me that Andrew Tate doesn't have any interests or personality or anything like that. Like, even off screen, surely he'd have... I don't, maybe he, like, even if you're like a gamer, even my most loser, shut-in, neat gamers that I know have female friends. Because the girls they're friends with play games with them. Like, they got a group of friends they play video games with, and some of them are women. Even my biggest neat friends that I know that never leave the house talk to women, and they play video games all day, and because of that, they talk to women. So Andrew Tate can't even be, in his personal life, a shut-in playing video games all day, because even that would bring him into close enough proximity with women to make friends with them and have mutual interests. what the fuck does Andrew Tate do when he's not on camera? Does he just like flip a switch and turn himself off like a robot when he's not on camera? Jesus.
Again, I like to ask anybody that follows this guy, all right, again, what is the point that the guy's trying to make? It really just shows how much of a stunted worldview you have to believe this. And again, that's the general audience Andrew is hitting. Based on Andrew's logic, if I grab this $20 bill with Andrew Jackson, I should probably throw that away because I'm getting a little gay. Let's get into the idea of Andrew Tate's lifestyle, okay? Now, Andrew Tate's the kind of guy, if you go to his channel, has a channel known as TateSpeech.com. Now, Andrew Tate is a pretty prominent YouTuber with 500,000 plus subscribers where he talks about, important
play on
things.
hate
Hey
speech.
guys, here's how to get out of the Matrix, how the New World Order works, addressing all the rumors, which there are a lot of and we'll get to, emergency meetings, and the worst things about being rich. And, is there really anything bad, Andrew? Come on now. The man knows how to clickbait you into something. Now, there's no doubt that Andrew Tate will use things like image intimidation to show that he has a nice place, nice car, nice everything, good body, and all these things. And of course, no doubt with all of these benefits, image intimidation works because the people that follow Andrew Tate look at everything that he has and says, this guy probably is a decent authority. You know, when he's driving his Bugatti in front of the various other supercars that he owns at the Tate compound with a goddamn samurai standing at the door, you know that this guy actually, probably has probably knows a few things about the things that he preaches. You know, it's kind of like when Elon Musk talks about a cryptocurrency, people will believe it because Elon talked about it, and Elon's one of the richest guy in the world. Probably knows a few things. Image intimidation works in a lot of these sectors, especially when you're selling courses, which we'll get to. Now, of course, while there's plenty of YouTube videos that talk about all of this crazy
Hey, wait, does Muda not know about Elon Musk doing market manipulation with the cryptocurrency? Like, you guys know that Elon Musk totally was buying tons of Doge. Like, right before he would tweet Doge, right? There's no way in hell he wasn't financially benefiting from the literal market manipulation he was doing. Listen, if Elon Musk tweeted, everybody buy GameStop, everybody buy AMC, everybody buy insert stock, and that would be market manipulation. He'd go to jail. He was able to push the memes. He participated in the memes and stuff, but I don't think he ever said, go buy this stock, buy this stock. I think he said, I like the stock. The stock is, he said, he basically dog whistled that you should do it, but he left enough separation to avoid getting in trouble for market manipulation. But here in America, cryptocurrency is not really underneath that umbrella of laws. So even though it is the exact same thing to say buy Doge or buy insert cryptocurrency, it's the same thing. Cryptocurrency right now, for most people, functions essentially the same way as shares do for stocks. Like most people just literally go onto I don't know, Cash App, or they go onto Robinhood or something, and then they buy some crypto with USD or whatever currency they use, and they wait a while and they sell it, ideally when it's worth more than it was when they bought it. Most people are not actually using their cryptocurrency because most people don't even know how to set up a cryptocurrency wallet. They just use a brokerage app and use it as if it was, basically it's like more volatile, but more possibly profit earning stocks to them. Is really how people view crypto. And despite that, it is not protected as stocks and stock trading is, and Elon Musk literally fucking engages in what would otherwise be market manipulation. So I'll disagree there. I think Elon Musk takes advantage of the fact that he's got a massive amount of dick riders and uses them for attention and money. Yeah. Wasn't he the second richest man in the world before the Dogecoin thing happened? I feel like somewhere before the Dogecoin fiasco, I kept hearing he's the second richest man in the world behind Bezos, and then I've been hearing he is the richest man in the world since sometime after the Dogecoin thing. Is there any merit to that? Let me know.
Shenanigans. There's a lot of, I guess you could say, history around Andrew Tate's backstory. For instance, Andrew Tate is a very, very good kickboxer. From all I've seen in his entire career, he has a pretty established...
Oh, was it Bezos paying alimony? It could have been. That'd be funny. Oh yeah, Bezos got divorced. Okay, that explains it, yeah. Damn. Wait, what's Elon Musk have to hate women for, dude? And he does. But what's Elon Musk have to hate women for, dude? If it weren't for a woman divorcing Bezos and taking, half of what he owns or whatever, then he wouldn't be number one. Damn. Elon Musk should be thanking women right now. Dead wrong, Mudahar. Tate ain't shit. Wait, hold on. What did he say?
While there's plenty of YouTube videos that talk about all of his crazy shenanigans, there's a lot of, I guess you could say, history around Andrew Tate's backstory. For instance, Andrew Tate is a very, very good kickboxer. From all I've seen in his entire career, he has a pretty established thing where he's got like 78 wins to 9 losses. I'm no kickboxer myself, but that's pretty good. However,
I don't... From what I've heard, people say that he's not a good boxer, but that does sound good. He didn't fight anybody notable, but if you've done 78 boxing fight, or if you've done however many boxing fights and you've won 78, I mean, that's not bad. I mean, he still won 78 fights against somebody. It's not necessarily a... Didn't a French person beat him? Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, he's a fucking pussy. Never mind. If a French person beat him, then he's a fucking pussy. I'm sorry. We don't have any we don't no not when it's the French. No, we don't. No.
However, it says the section's factual accuracy is disputed. But of course, one more thing that's factually disputed is the claim of how this guy actually got kicked off of one of the reality TV shows he was on. Now, he was on Big Brother. I think it was UK. I don't really know anything about what goes on in Big Brother. I'm not a big reality TV person. But this is one infamous clip that basically started floating around. When I saw Andrew Tate a while back when I was first introduced, this is the first clip that showed up on Twitter and various social media platforms. And it was one of the more disgusting clips to find. It's a clip of Andrew Tate basically taking a belt and hitting this one woman over here. Now, when I first saw this, I was immediately wondering who's filming this or what's going on. Now, when I saw this, it didn't really have any audio attached to it. And when I looked closer into it, one of the actual responses and rebuttals to this was the fact that this was a consensual BDSM roleplay scenario. In fact, it appears this blonde woman over here actually showed up and basically said this was effectively just roleplay. Of course, speaking directly to the camera, hi everyone, I just want to say something about the video that has been released recently of me and my ex-boyfriend Andrew Tate. He is still a great friend, and what you saw in the video is just something we used to do. It was pure game, he is a great guy, and he would never hurt anybody, unless he is professionally fighting. I just want to let you know that this has all been a huge misunderstanding. I already got kicked out of the house because of it, which I find really unfair, because it was just a pure game. That's what we used to do. Now, of course, one clip that's completely sort of flown under the radar until I looked even further into it was this one specifically, where it was a different girl, it seems, with black hair, where Andrew Tate is actually pointing out bruises. And I want to warn you, this is some really dark stuff to look through. I'm going to basically cut out most of this video, and I'm going to let you play the audio. Because, again, I'm not here to talk to Andrew Tate. He's not somebody that's going to listen. But I am talking to the fan base that vehemently follows this guy. What you're about to hear is not alpha behavior. If this is some really dark stuff. So again, listen carefully, listen closely. So you've got the black hair, different person it seems. They've got a blur on their face, obviously, so I can't identify. But again, just listen to it real quick.
I haven't seen this.
With what?
You have.
A belt because you're a jerk. Show me the bruises. 1, 2, 3. Oh, baby. Oh, poor thing. I have an idea. You want some ideas? You want some ideas? That's right, lock the door, you knew I was going to beat the out of you. If you behaved, I wouldn't have to hit you, would I? You don't. Get out.
Now, of course, to the people watching, this is clear.
Well, that was definitely his top G accent there. That was definitely his top G accent. What a gentleman.
Clearly a door that's been locked, and I just want to wonder what the story behind this is. Clearly somebody that's engaging in like some consensual play is now locking doors and obviously seems like distraught completely in this clip. This is not alpha behavior. This is some disgusting, decrepit shit that you come across on the internet. And if you're somebody that respects or looks up to a person like this, you seriously need to grow up and actually seek some real help in your life, or some real actual figures to follow. Because this isn't it, chief. This is just disturbing shit. If you're somebody that thinks this is haha funny, 99% of the world looks at this kind of shit in disgust. And that's the right response to have. But again, this is just one dark aspect. There are more to uncover about Andrew Tate. There's allegations.
That is true, but I also think I do think 99% of the adult world of like normal people you'd meet out on the street would probably find this to be despicable. The problem is that's not necessarily the audience that is susceptible to Andrew Tate's messaging, and it's not the audience that is likely to stumble upon his content. He's very big on TikTok. And he's very big in the YouTube Shorts and YouTube algorithm. The audience that he's mostly getting are young men. Like, not even in high school yet, in a lot of cases. Most of them definitely not out of high school. The vast majority of them probably have not talked intimately with a woman once in their lives. They don't understand how it works once you become an adult and you actually get into the dating scene. It's just nothing alike. It's like when you play a tutorial level in a video game and then you get let out into the main game. It's completely different. It's not the perfect comparison, but like dating in high school, dating, quote unquote, when you're in high school, dating, quote unquote, when you're in middle school or elementary school, which is the audience that Andrew Tate has. It's just so different. It's so much more drama filled and vain, right? Because we're talking about fucking teenagers. However, the problem is the fact that they're kids doesn't mean their beliefs don't matter. I imagine a very quick defense from people that maybe wouldn't want Andrew Tate to be deplatformed would be, okay, well, they're just stupid fucking kids. Lots of kids are stupid, right? The problem is we're seeing a lot of stories come out about these kids enacting the beliefs of Andrew Tate on their on their classmates, on their teachers, on their parents and their siblings and stuff, saying shit like to them about how they're whores and how women are stealing money from men and stuff like that. The top G's are a young audience, and as much as I hate to say it, some of them might honestly be too young to be watching Mutahar. Like, many of them are probably not even old enough to know what the dark web is. Like, a lot of them they're on TikTok. They're fucking normies. And they're young, like Muda's audience is probably more in my age, like more like in your late high school to college age, perhaps even older, right? Like much older audience demographic. And I feel like, well, there are plenty of people in that demographic who are probably Andrew Tate fans. The vast majority of them are young kids, young Zoomers, like in their early teens and preteens. It's very disturbing, very, very disturbing.
Of human trafficking. And of course, one has to look into this alpha male's earning and how he actually made his money and his fortune, and just exactly how he continues to fund his lifestyle by preying on the individuals that are the most weakest and susceptible to his bullshit.
But of course, a big bulk of his money actually comes from running a webcam empire, which actually, according to a little mirror.co.uk article, basically brothers make millions using webcam girls to sell sob stories to desperate men. Sounds.
Bro, this man's playing Honeycam Studio in real life. Bro, there is a spin-off Honey Pop game called Honeycam Studio, and it's literally that. And it's like a satire game that's meant to be like, every line is meant to make you go, oh my god, I can't believe it. What? Like, you're supposed to be disgusted because the game is very satirical, but Andrew Tate is living that life.
About legit, to which we're actually going to read a bit of an anecdote over here. Now here they said, Andrew said one model they took to Bucharest used the name Chloe. Viewers were told she was in London, making her seem more attainable to UK men. Andrew said $4 a minute to keep her company was a good deal. However, she made her real money because men fell in love with her and believed her fake story, and tipped thousands to keep her attention and stop other men seeing her. Even when the face of the personality was sleeping, our girls behind the scene would use Chloe's phone and constantly work on the relationships with her boyfriends. So just from the very basics of this webcam empire that it seemed, it really appears that Andrew Tate, this alpha man, is a pimp. So once again, I asked the fan base that follows this man is a pimp worth respecting? If you ask 99% of the general male population, absolutely not. This is one of those career paths that absolutely nobody can respect. Being a middleman, a pimp.
Listen, a lot of young men think being a pimp is the peak of masculine respectability, okay? Being a pimp to a lot of young men is literally like professional video game tester or professional boob licker inspector. I don't know. Like, I don't really know, like, the mindset of a lot of like shithead young men is disturbing. I don't know, maybe I've just spent too many times in the comments sections of these people's videos, but I've seen some shit. Or professional milf fucker, yes.
Especially in the adult entertainment industry, a very seedy entertainment industry to begin with, is quite disgusting. But the way that it's described here, it really just seems like a fraudulent empire to goad absolute weak-willed individuals out of cash. So at the same time, this guy's trying to tell you about how to be a man, while it appears that his largest empire, or one of the things that put him on the map, got him that Bugatti, so to speak, is an empire that preyed upon the same people that he is apparently preaching to. How can you respect a man like this? He's like a drug dealer that apparently knows that what he's doing is wrong, but continues to do it. Absolutely beta behavior. And again, I'm only using alpha and beta because we're pertaining to this topic. Anything beyond this, I think they're complete jokes of definitions.
To which, when you ask these guys about their business, they literally will say, it's a total scam. The model has just their hands.
Hey, by the way, for those of you guys that don't know, the alpha-beta dichotomy comes from a study on wolves in captivity, which has since been gone back on and disproven by the very person who published that study, because it turns out wolves in captivity, for one, wolves in captivity don't even behave in the way that they previously suspected with the alpha-beta mentality, and not only that, but they don't even come close to behaving that way in the wild. That was something that was really surprising me when I found out there's no alpha beta wolf thing in the wild. But then I learned more about wolves and I was like, oh shit, yeah, that makes sense. Actual wolf packs don't operate that way. As a matter of fact, not a lot of animals in real life operate that way. I think like silverbacks do, but even then, it's not even that same way. There's like a couple of animals that do, and even in that way, it's more of a family unit, like paternal. Like it's not like an alpha male; it's more of a paternal or maternal leader of the pride type thing. Lobsters? Do lobsters do that? I think lobsters don't. The only thing I really care about when it comes to lobsters is that they taste good and they live forever. Lobsters are biologically immortal, apparently. I've heard people say that's not true and that they can die from disease, but that's still pretty biologically immortal, isn't it? Don't get started on the damn lobsters again. They have copper blood. We got a lot of copper in our blood, don't we? Or no, we have got a lot of iron. Still basically immortal? I thought it was blue blood. No, those are horseshoe crabs. Horseshoe crabs have blue blood. They use them to test blood test kits, don't they? Like, I don't know why they would need horseshoe crab blood to test blood test kits, but wait, it's blue, right? Horseshoe crab blood? Okay, I think it's only some lobsters, and obviously they can be eaten, but yeah. No, blue blood is copper blood? Oh. Copper is blue? Immortal means that you can live forever, not that you can die. Oh, no, Xana's right. I'm pretty sure I'm right. What is the stun lock? Let's move on.
On a keyboard that isn't even plugged in. I have real professionals who are fluent in English behind the scenes getting men hooked, finding out their interest, the name of their dog. A guy will come online and say, "How's Sparky?" It's an operation of professionals who lure these men in. Tristan said 80% of money earned by British models came from the men in the United Kingdom. But if a model is Slovakian, 80% comes from Americans. He said he once tried to stop a man spending his £20,000 inheritance on Chloe, but gave up when the punter came back weeks later and gave the money to another woman. Men will give all that they have. He said, "I've seen men sell cars, TVs with Chloe. This guy's grand passed away and they were waiting for the sale of the house. When the house was sold, he'd get $20,000 and promised it to Chloe to pay for her fake financial problem. We had his phone number. It was only a year into the industry. I called the guy. I said, "Hello, my name is Tristan Tate. I know you use myfreecams.com. Let me tell you, Chloe works at a studio I own. Financially, she's fine. Keep your $20,000. He thanked me, but then weeks later, the man visited another site, and Tristan told staff to take him for everything he's got. Tristan said he runs a legitimate business, and if they abuse it, it's their problem. So, of course, it's kind of like peddling gambling, right? Like, this is where I think it's even worse than somebody who peddles gambling or drugs or anything.
It does remind me a lot of the thing with the gambling streams, those websites that do the crypto gambling. It reminds me of that shit where they're all hosted in like all those like sites. The companies are all based in countries with like very interesting loopholes in the law when it comes to gambling and stuff. It's all super shady and weird.
These vices to people, when they act with a moral superiority that, hey, this is a bad thing, but I'm still going to partake in it. I have more respect for the person that knows they're a scumbag and doesn't pretend or like, do anything about it. They're like, yes, I do promote addictive vices. I don't give a fuck about it, okay? Get addicted all you want. Looking at old Twitter archives, this is the scale of webcams explained in a single screenshot. So basically shows 339 people are watching one stream out of 1,609 models, right? It is your friends, brothers, fathers, husband, and uncles. Men you know do this, I guarantee it. Old and young, rich and poor. The allure of beautiful women willing to do as they say is impossible to resist. Better than selling crack! Shit, I even sell a course teaching men how. In excess of 2 million men at any one moment are indulging in this kind of entertainment. My estimate is an underestimate, if anything. It's made me a multi-millionaire, and I am not ashamed. My girls are well paid and happy to put on the show. Literally at the pimp. What's really wild is when you look at some of these guys, like for instance, another banger tweet from Tristan. If you don't fuck at least 2 virgins a year, you are unqualified to call yourself a player.
How many virgin women over 18 in the world does he think there are? He's not just talking about virgin women over the age of 18. He's encouraging his audience to shoot low, basically. Men like this consider young women to be sexually unspoiled. And by young women, I mean children. They're really fucking creepy about underage girls. They're really fucking creepy. Also, I am currently on top of Mutahar, so I will move myself.
Running through the same old circle of hoes as everybody else? Cool, but I'm better than you. I'm a different beast. It gets kind of weird when you look at some of the Tate's relationship with women, but these tweets kind of explain it. And again, the pattern of these tweets is just creepy. The oldest virgin I've ever had it with was 26, strict orthodox, staying away from men, kept her hair, skin, voice, mind, soul, everything, rare finds, and this is just one of many, and it really paints a picture of how these people perceive women and relationships, and just how creepy it actually is. Now, obviously, beyond just running one of these empires, Andrew Tate has a bit of controversy regarding the law and several charges being run against him. And I've been looking really diligently amongst all of this because there are some really serious allegations. One of them being that he is an alleged human trafficker. Now, I don't like to use that term completely and apply it to anybody. There's some serious research that needs to be applied. When I think of human traffickers, I think of scumbags like Jeffrey Epstein. And human trafficking is without a doubt one of the most serious crimes ever. It is, in fact, one of the worst crimes imaginable. And if you get caught doing it, in my personal opinion, the death sentence is just a bit too lenient. But of course, let's go on a little bit. Now, of course, Andrew Tate's been sort of marred with some of these allegations, but of course, he's also been marred with a lot of charges that have hit him all the way in the United Kingdom, which is one of the countries that he holds citizenship in. So let's listen to one of Andrew's explanations and just go beat by beat from there.
So I was like, who are you? They're like, you're under arrest for a suspicion of assault of this dumb hoe. And I'm like, wait, is it dumb hoe? They didn't, but I'm going to protect her anonymity because I'm a nice guy. Dumb hoe. So I was like, I didn't touch that dumb hoe.
Yeah.
And the police were like, well, look, don't talk to us. We just have to bring you in, talk to the investigator. So I went to the investigator. They kept me in a cell for a day and a half. They sent officers to raid my house, took all my electronics, took all my phones, all my laptops, went through my entire personal life, found 11 new things to raise charges against me for, unrelated, because the original case got dropped because she had no evidence and she was lying. Because all the other girls in the house went to on my behalf.
testified against her.
She's lying.
Yeah, right.
So like, okay, but we've been through his life. He has a Lambo and a bunch of pussy and he's enjoying himself, and that's not allowed in the Western world. So we've been through his life and we found 11 new reasons to raise crap against him. So I had 11 new charges.
He has a Lambo and gets a bunch of pussy. You're not allowed to have that in the Western world. So I had 11 new charges because they tried to find some crap on me. Dude, when people talk about their legal trouble and they're like super defensive like this, it should be a massive red flag. A massive, massive, massive red flag. I want receipts.
And I just woke up one day and said, I cannot live in this kind of, I will not live under a government that will do this to me when I've done nothing wrong. So I had to leave and go somewhere. And by coincidence, I had a fight coming up in Romania. So I went and fought in Romania. I thought, you know what? I'll hang around here for a few months. And then boom, 5 years later, I'm still there. So
Now, of course, I'm not here to talk to Tate at this point. I think that's a lost cause, but I want to talk to the people that actually put this guy up on a pedestal. Let's go through the chain of events like normal, rational adults real quickly. The guy gets, arrested. He gets into trouble with the UK police. The UK police detain him for a day and a half, but they take all of the electronics and systems that he has. And after they have taken all the electronics, they've obviously processed that through their own system, and they found up 11 new charges to bring to the table. 11 various different new charges. And of course, according to the internet and various research around and various reports, it seems that some of them may be related to things like sexual assaults. So how is it that these are new 11 charges that have been brought up, and all of a sudden, they came out literally after they looked through the electronics? It's really weird and fishy whenever that happens, like when your systems get taken, your hard drives get looked through, and all of a sudden they can find 11 new charges. But of course, he moves to Romania, which of course, if you know anything about Romania, if you look at the Corruption Perceptions Index, this is actual research that is brought up by Transparency International, you can find out they rank literally almost every country from 100 to 0. 100 being highly, non-corrupt, a clean country, absolutely sterling, all the way down to 0, basically being one of the highest corrupt countries that you could find. Now, of course, if you look into it, for example, Canada, my country, has actually been losing its corruption perception over time. So back in 2012, Canada was considered to be 84, which is pretty high. And all the way down in 2021, we're rated as 74. So clearly, in the Corruption Perception Index, Canada has become a more corrupt country. Now, of course, as you go down into the situation, you'll find that the United States, for instance, went from 73 all the way back in 2012, all the way down to 67 as of 2021. Of course, there's various factors to affect all of this. In certain cases, it can also go up. Like, for instance, the Seychelles went from 52 all the way up to 70, which is a pretty massive boost into the entire equation.
Oh, that's
of course,
nice.
then you go all the way down to where our buddy is chilling. And if you go to Romania, for instance, Romania has gone from 44, went down a little bit, went to 46, 48, 47, all the way down and harmonizing around 45. So clearly, this is not a very, safe country. It is a corrupt country. It's easier to access corruption in Romania. And you don't have to listen to my words for it. You can listen right from Andrew Tate. And this is where I'm going to play the whole context and sort of debunk and talk about it together.
I find it offensive that a police officer in England will stop me for speeding and then refuse to take a bribe and pretend that... No, but I'll tell you why. Because he'll...
Bro, the GTA 5 modded, car sky ramp course in the background, you just know exactly the type of 13-year-old boy that this video, this TikTok is meant to appeal to. 42.9 thousand likes in this TikTok, by the way. Just want to let you know. Just really immediately shows not only... Well, this is from Andrew Tate's TikTok, by the way. It shows the audience he's appealing to. This is the Tate Speech TikTok account. This is his TikTok. He posted this and had this made. 42.9 thousand likes, 43,000. You can tell what kind of 13-year-old white boy kind of, goes home and plays on his Xbox and calls other kids on GTA 5 online the N-word, you know that you can kind of picture an archetype of who he's targeting with this type of messaging. Do I need to start including video gameplay just above, should I just right above my camera just have some random gameplay from a video? I feel like just eye candy is something that maybe my videos need that. Maybe we need eye candy, you know? I've been playing that fucking gacha game, Tower of Fantasy. I bet that would be good eye candy. It's very flashy. You guys would like me just slashing up random monsters in that while talking about politics, I'd bet.
Sit there and go, no, this is the law and order, and pretend that the law means something, and fuck me over. But if you're a billionaire, or if you're Boris Johnson, you can go to Epstein's Island, you can fuck at third parties during COVID,
Yeah,
you can do what the fuck you want,
booms.
right? So the whole idea of law and order is a lie. The whole idea of it's bullshit. It's just about if you're high enough, you can throw it all away. I'd rather be in a society where if I'm in Prague and they stop me for speeding, they say, bro, you were speeding, no, here's $50. All right, cool. Bye. If corruption exists, which it does, let us all play. Why do only they get to play and I don't get to play? I find it offensive that...
Now, of course, Andrew is referring to the fact that corruption exists all over the world. Now, of course, this is where Andrew says one thing that's logical, and then he mixes in with a whole bunch of bullshit. Obviously, corruption exists in every single facet of the world. And yes, corruption is accessible to people that have certain power, certain funds, and certain, connections. But that's not a good thing, anybody would say. We should try to strive to have no corruption whatsoever. He's trying to talk about the fact that there's people like Jeffrey Epstein, and, people that are doing some crazy things in the world. And obviously, when we find out the true extent of it, and it gets brought into the light, which it always does in the end, thankfully, those people get taken to trial, those people get convicted, those people get their entire images completely ruined. Now, of course, corruption exists, there's bad people all over the world. Obviously, we should try to stamp it out as much as we can. It's not that, yes, corruption exists, therefore, hey, let everyone access it, make it completely equal and free. No, that's not how it works. Clearly, Andrew Tate moves to Romania because for him, it appears that accessing this corruption might be a little bit easier than in the United Kingdom, where he just doesn't have enough funds or power to do so, or the United States.
This is completely unrelated to what he just said, but you know what I just realized? The vast majority of Andrew Tate fans watching that clip probably weren't even alive when GTA 5 originally came out, right? Like, GTA 5 is like a 9 or 10-year-old game now, right? There's legitimately some Andrew Tate fans who are watching that clip who were not alive when GTA 5 originally came out. I want you to consider that for a moment. I want you to think about that for just one long, agonizing... Actually, because we're getting older, one very short... every second that passes, a second in your time perception gets shorter. Just want to let you know. Fear death. It is coming for you at a breakneck speed.
So, of course, at the end of the day, corruption is bad, and it should be stamped out everywhere in the world, not freely accessed by every scumbag you could ever find. That's the healthy take to have. And I want to ask the people that follow him, what's wrong with the take that I have right here? Do you disagree? And if you do disagree, why should you access corruption everywhere?
Probably 40% of the reason
40%,
because in Eastern Europe, none of this garbage flies. If you go to the police and say he raped me back in 1988, you're going to say we should have done something about it then. If you go to the police and say he raped me yesterday, say, okay, have you got physical evidence? Or is there CCTV proof? Where'd it happen? Okay, let's go interview him right now. And if it wasn't really, we went to the club, we got drunk, she agreed to go back to my house, we started having sex, and then we carried on having sex, and then we had sex and she didn't say anything wrong, and then she texted me afterwards and I didn't text back, and now she's saying I raped her. The police will be like, okay, she's an idiot, bye. But no, not in the West. In the West, you can tell them that exact story. You're still fucked. You're fucked in the West. People say, why did you live in Romania? And I explain my 5 reasons. One of them is the Me Too era. They go, oh, well, you're a rapist. I say, no, I'm not a fucking rapist. But I like the idea of being able to just say to do what I want. I like being free. And if you're a man living in England or Germany or America or any of the Western world right now, you've decided to live in a country where any woman, any ex, any fucking bitch who works at Greg's who you bought a pasty from, at some point in the future can destroy your life. This Me Too era bullshit has not protected women. It's just destroyed the safety of men.
Now, it's a rather weird thing to say that for...
Guys, I'm sorry, but that statement resonated with... That clip is literally one of the clips that made Andrew Tate go viral. That clip legitimately resonated with so many men. Here's the thing. The Me Too stuff has been made into such a boogeyman. And there's been so many stories that have been given disproportionate amounts of media attention of, like, seemingly cases of false accusations of whether it be rape, sexual assault, etc., like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. These instances get so much more attention than any case where... Have you noticed that cases where somebody gets falsely accused of sexual assault or rape tend to get more attention than people making accusations of sexual assault or rape? The reason for that is, this is my theory, I think that a lot of men, their biggest fear in regards to sexual assault or rape is not that they themselves will be the victim of it, but that they will be falsely accused of being the perpetrator of it. That is by far their biggest fear. The problem is that the vast majority of women, their biggest fear in regards to that is being the victim of it. You can see where this can lead to a little bit of, a little bit of issue, right? I genuinely feel like this is a real thing.
40% of the reason you're moving to this one country with a pretty high corruption index is all of a sudden, because Western men are living in a country where anytime, anywhere, they can have their lives ruined by a false allegation. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously false allegations are a thing. They're real. It happens, unfortunately, and it ruins it for actual women that have been completely harmed. But of course, to understand what the situation...
And men. Well, come on, don't erase the men. Come on, I'm just kidding. I'm fucking with them. It's okay.
How is it that this guy just wants to go to a country where for him it's such a big deal? 40% of the reason is because you don't want to get caught up in these charges. I'm going to wager and say that most individuals do not get caught up in charges like this whatsoever. I would say that given a normal, healthy, relationships that I've had in my life, I've never ever come across a situation where an ex-girlfriend of mine has suddenly brought up these weird charges on me or whatnot. This is something that, I can say from my personal experience, and even from the close friends that I've had who've had relationships, nobody has come out, and nobody lives in fear of having a false allegation. What is really...
I think that a lot of dudes do, and it's misguided. If you're... I will say, if you're a public figure, then there's a higher chance of it. That's the one thing where I feel like people maybe don't give it enough credit. If you're a public figure, there's a higher chance of it. But if you're just a normal person, like if you're just some guy and you like date a girl or something, I don't think you need to be worrying about her deciding one day that to get back at you for, I don't know, like cheating or something, like that she would accuse you of a crime falsely. It's a very unrealistic fear. It's like believing that I don't know. It's like believing the sky is going to fall one day. I don't know what to tell you. It's just not going to happen to you, very likely. I've been falsely accused before due to calling the cops on someone. It's weird. Cops knew instantly it was BS. I guess anybody can say anything when they're in a desperate situation, but like... it's not very likely if you're just a normal everyday person. If men didn't want to be accused of rape, maybe they shouldn't be out walking around alone. Yeah, what was he wearing?
Really fearful is coming across guys like this that are fearful of any allegation that's hitting towards them. I don't know whether they're like understanding that their activities in the past may have set themselves up for something like this in the future, and that's why they're pissed scared of the moment. But for somebody like this who just wants to be free and do whatever they want, what does that even mean? What do you mean do whatever you want? What, so that if these things come up, you can be in a country where you can access the corruption and pay somebody off so that nothing ever goes beyond its scope? What does this even mean? I want to ask the people who look up to this guy. Is this a normal, rational reason for an alpha male to move to the other side of the world just so they can... 40% of the reason is so that they can get away from false allegations? I don't understand if like that's an alpha thing, if that's like normal. In reality land, in non-cuckoo land, we consider that pretty fucking red flag territory to begin with. And any guy that's using this as an excuse, typically most other normal men will look at a guy like that and think, scumbag. But of course, that's just normality hitting you. And I want to ask the fan base for this guy.
Well, like, that's the thing though, right? I'm really curious to see, actually, I have to know. I have to know. I have to know. So far, nothing bad. Man is a real-life GTA character. We don't follow Andrew, we follow Muda. Great, now you can make a video titled, I took an L once again. Oh, there we go. We got one. If we had more empathy, more equality, less equity, less lookism, and less reasons to be black-pilled, the Andrew Tate phenomenon would fade to nothing. But men are vilified and seen as worthless. Only the hyper-masculine jock is cared about. The average or, God forbid, introverted and anxious kid is disregarded or violently rejected. If you're not good-looking, you're not getting a girl. If you're not dark triad and dominant... Oh my fucking god! Oh god! What did this motherfucker just say? What did he just say? If you're not dark triad and dominant, you're not getting a girl. There is a very specific set of looks and personality traits in play in order to be seen as worthwhile by the female sex, as they do not need us men for any money. For any money or any reason other than aesthetics and sex. They do not listen to us or comprehend our ideas or thoughts or emotions, and females and other males do not care for the people who express their emotions, even in constructive ways. You cry once in front of a female and she loses all respect for you. The way I see it, Andrew Tate is a monument, a very sad monument for things to come. To men, buy into it, reject it, you cope all the same for the fact you will never be truly loved. To women, this is the future you chose and created. Enjoy it. This is literally probably Destiny's exact same opinion on Andrew Tate, if I'm being honest. I don't know why, but I got massive DGGer energy reading that. Am I the only one who feels like this could have been... Hold on. Okay, I legitimately checked this person's channels to see if they were subbed to Destiny. If Andrew Tate is so horrible, why are you giving him attention? Anyway, he thanks you for the free advertisement. I know you're jealous you won't ever be as rich as him and always stay that beta male. Cool video for your views/subs, but unnecessary. That is basically a copy-paste of the average comment I get on my videos. If you're ever wondering just how devoid of any level of humanity, like there's no, it doesn't feel like there was an actual human person who typed that, doesn't it? Does it really feel like a real human person with emotions and a backstory and like a functioning brain wrote that? Like, me and my friend Ethan have legitimately come to the conclusion that there are NPCs in this world, legitimate NPCs, people who they're just happening. There's nothing going on in there. They just are. And that comment came from one of those people. That person was, if not a literal bot, an NPC in every shape, way, and form of the word. Some ordinary trash is crying right now because my content is better. Laughing, crying emojis. Okay. I don't want to insult anyone. I kind of realize what's happening, so to understand what I'm trying to say, let's establish two things. One, I don't want to be racist. Okay. Two, I'm strictly talking from my point of view as a Romanian and as a European. Okay, I got that out of hand. Let's talk to the point. With the pass of time, lands started to build cultures around the society. And as for you Americans, Muda is Canadian, you don't have a culture, you are a mix. This is a knife with two edges, no responsibility and no freedom. And though the culture you are born in, you start liking, disliking, approving, disapproving, etc. But also, through the history of the culture itself, you start to see patterns of failure and success. What I'm asking is to start thinking outside the box, find the root of the argument, analyze it from all perspectives, and take a conclusion. Thank you. There are so many extremely autistic comments I get on my videos like this, where you legitimately read them, and there's just no... It just comes off as sus the way it's worded, but it doesn't make a single point. Notice how that comment said a lot of things without saying anything? I get a lot of comments like that, too, and I just come out of it like... What did you just fucking say? What was your point? Oh, here's one with a Minecraft profile picture. Let's guess the age of this person. Their name is M_gamer. I kinda like that dude. He make mostly good points. I really don't agree with some I really believe in. ... I know some mentally brainwashed people won't understand what I mean. ... Thank you, gamer. M_gamer with the Minecraft profile picture. Thank you. I really appreciate it. That was written by a 7-year-old. That was written by a 7-year-old Andrew Tate fan. It's fucking crazy how similar his way of thinking is to the Prophet of Islam. What? I can say 100% none of his followers had a taste of the real world. That is true. Andrew is a motherfucking G. What happened to real men? I can't find an ounce of respect for a guy who gives cam girls money. Oh my god, I literally died at 531 Mega Breeder box. Okay, that's pretty good. He's an entertainer, bro, lol. Okay, that pretty much summarizes the cowards who will defend Andrew Tate. Oh, none of it's real. He's just an entertainer, lol. I like how, Andrew Tate... I like how Mudahar is, at this point in the video, going over the literal crimes of Andrew Tate, the criminal charges of Andrew Tate, and this person's reply is, he's literally an entertainer, bro. The internet. The internet.
Guy. How is this defensible? How is this like a cool thing? How is this alpha, so to speak? This sounds like the most beta, near criminal shit that I've ever heard of. But we'll get to criminality in a bit. Now, of course, the human trafficking stuff comes into an actual article that was posted just this year even. So this is from a Romanian page, and now this is a very serious allegation, of course, very, very serious. Again, human trafficking, very, very, very serious crime. So, of course, I want to do my due diligence and look into how this is going. From what I understand...
But Muda, did you consider that he's just an entertainer, though? As that comment in your comment section so wisely pointed out, he's just an entertainer. How could you possibly try to hold him to account for his criminal behavior when he's just an entertainer?
from what I've seen, this is still an active investigation. So I've heard numerous cases like, hey, the case got dropped and all this blah, 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 blah. I have not found that anywhere where the case has actually been dropped by Romanian authorities or even the United States services that have been involved into this process as well. Of course, with cases like this, it's slow going and information.
Guys, every day my job gets easier and easier because I only get better at arguing against the same points that brainwashed teenagers have been believing and repeating for at least the last decade. Certainly, probably longer, and will no doubt be doing the same thing into the future. I'm only going to get better at this shit, because their arguments aren't changing. It's all the same shit, and it will always be the same shit. Just a new coat of paint over it.
Regarding human trafficking cases, very, like, it's going to be a while before you hear any updates to this kind of stuff. But of course, let's go read into it. So this is the Romanian page, which I'm going to go throw it into a translator, and we're going to look at the English version of it. So there's going to be some translation issues, but hopefully nothing too massive. The police descended with masks on the villa of the fighter Tristan Tate, ex-boyfriend of Bianca. I'm not even going to try. The British millionaire allegedly kidnapped 2 women to exploit them. So, of course, they've got an entire video one could watch over here. Romanian authorities, like, they're all dressed up, ready to raid the place. So with a full-on raid, they've got their Tate.
Wait, he's actually got a full-on compound. Guys, Muda, if I ever make my streamer compound, okay? If I ever make my content compound and everybody has their own, like, apartment inside the content compound, you're invited, okay? You're invited to the content compound, okay? I don't care if you've retired from YouTube by then and you don't barely upload. I don't care. You're invited, all right? Everyone's invited to the Zunker. All right, we'll be the dark and evil Andrew Tate, okay? Evil Andrew Tate be like, rape is bad.
Logo with the chess piece, and they've got numerous supercars lined up. You've got the actual owners walking around. I think that's one of the Tates, but you just got law enforcement sitting around. So this was captured. They've actually had real authorities go on there. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that the American State Department got involved. So let's go read through this whole thing. The Information and Public Relations Office within the Organized Crime and Terrorism Investigation Directorate announced on Tuesday, on April 11th, the prosecutor's office attached to the Buftia District Court ordered the refusal in favor of DICOT, central structure in
Dark taint.
the case, in investigations were being carried out under this aspect, or I think that might be a suspect, of committing the crime of illegal deprivation of liberty. Okay, so just keeping people chained up, Jesus Christ. Central Structure prosecutors heard several witnesses during the night of 11/12/04/2022 in order to clarify the factual situation. The investigation is being continued, so it's still active, by the Investigation of Organized Crime and Terrorism Central Structure with the support of BCCO Bucharest, the criminal investigation being carried out in REM. So the mother of one of the girls who was in the villa owned by the Tate brothers at the time they broke the mask gave statements to journalists. My child is a good child. He has never caused me any problems. I always asked her if she had a boyfriend, and she said, no, Mom, I'm just going to college. She's a very good child. I think that's why he bullied her, because she's too naive. He told me he was going out, she told me, I think that's what it is, she was going out for a drink with a friend. It seemed strange to me from the beginning. Since I saw pictures of the girl she said she was dating, I saw that the girl had a more dubious figure. I didn't like it, but I said not to say anything to my...
Something I have to point out, by the way, is that every girl that publicly, like, falls for the shit that Andrew Tate pushes, like when Andrew Tate does a video, or like if like some guy goes and he like uses Andrew Tate's advice on a girl and God forbid it works, that warps. And if it happens publicly, it warps the perception of the people who see it. You know how like back during the Gamergate days, one or two there were really only like 4 videos of the iconic SJW meltdowns, right? And it's those 4 same people, like Big Red, that one person with the glasses, the guy with the long hair, and the person and the other lady. Like, it's those 4 people every time, used in every meme for like over a decade now. It's been in every single one of those videos, like a decade or whatever. And to this day, yeah, Triggerlypuff. To this day, they continue to use those same people. Those 4 people basically started an entire stereotype. Like, seeing one or two anecdotes can trick your brain without you even realizing it into believing that that is a larger phenomenon. So a lot of these dudes will use Andrew Tate's advice, and all it takes is one girl, or hell, even just them seeing seemingly one guy succeed when using Andrew Tate's advice. All it takes is it working on one girl, and they think that's how every girl thinks, how every girl like values men. And that's really, really dangerous. It takes these young men seeing one girl like actually like respond to this type of like behavior, even if it's they're paid to do it, and they start to believe that is how women value men. There's 2 ends of this. There's a problem with how these men value women, or these boys value women, and there's a problem with how these boys think women value men. They're two different issues, technically. They're related, but you have to attack both of these things to fully... Like, have you noticed that, like, most of the comments on Mudahar's video have been pointing out women are hurting men, women hate men, women with this, women that, feel this way about men? The thing that is the core of all of this really seems to be they have a warped perception about how women view and value men. And that seems to be what you gotta go after.
My child. The translation's a little bit wonky, but you can kind of understand the story. The mom is painting the child to be a good kid. Obviously, she wouldn't get caught up into this, but she was probably allured by the money, and she was allured by these characters themselves.
Yeah, I'm allowed to hate women because they started it. They hated me first.
Ilfov police were notified on Monday by a representative of the Diplomatic Security Office of the United States Embassy in Bucharest regarding the fact that there is information according to which in a building located on Washington Street in the town of Voluntari, Ida Gabi, age 21, an American citizen, would have been detained. According to sources close to the investigation, the Ilfov prosecutors got in touch with the Diplomatic Security Bureau, and after obtaining additional information, the police officers filed an ex officio report regarding the commission of a possible crime of illegal deprivation of liberty. Now, of course, it seems like there was a Romanian woman also imprisoned in the building, in addition to the American one they were going for. So clearly, unless there was like, an American person that was allegedly being detained in this scenario, again, I'm using allegations simply because we don't have a conviction and this hasn't gone completely out to court. But if there was a Romanian woman alone, we can understand through the corruptions index that we saw earlier, the police may not have been as favorable. It was only until the American government got involved that the Romanian government, had to basically listen. At the end of the day, all right, I guess you could say the larger gear turns the smaller gear, or whatever you could say. And it was because of the fact that the American government really got involved. In my personal opinion, I think the Romanians got involved too. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, these are charges, these are allegations, and it's an ongoing investigation. Now, one of the things that I like to cover when it comes to stuff like this is covering the truth and the facts. Because when it comes to the fans of the Tates, all right, they will take anything that the mainstream media will say, anything that could be constantly, misconstrued as a lie, and they will take that running. If it turns out that this is, there wasn't a case of human trafficking whatsoever, everyone on the internet that's been calling this guy a trafficker, a seller, if you will now be brandished as a liar in the fans of this guy, and then you'll never be able to convert them in that case. Look, it's safe to say there is an ongoing...
That's true. The right does this very frequently. It's actually a very good point on the part of Muda here. A lot of people online will try to use... I think there's a word for this. I'm almost certain there's actually like a specific name for this phenomenon. I'm just not... I don't know it and I don't remember it if I've ever heard it. But a lot of people will think... They'll see a person. That person will have some allegations of wrongdoing lobbed their way. They will debunk those allegations, or they will turn out not to be true. And from that point on, people will become a little bit less willing to believe anything about them along those lines, right? And that will happen. If this turns out to be a nothing burger, if just this one thing turns out to be a nothing burger, it doesn't matter what happens in the future, Andrew Tate fans will use this one scenario and as to defend him. Say, oh, it's just another one of these. It's just another one of those. You can look at what happened with Trump to see that, right? Trump got off pretty much scot-free on the impeachment thing. I mean, about as much as he could. And to this day, the right still says they failed to impeach him. They couldn't even impeach him. If he did anything wrong, then they would have been able to get him impeached. And that's what they say to this day.
Investigation. And it's definitely suspect to wonder what's going on with the US government, and it's definitely suspicious to see such a raid being descended down. And of course, 2 people being reclaimed is another thing. But of course, let's get Andrew Tate's side of the story, see how that one fits in.
Because that's the nature of the internet. But you know what? Fine. Cool.
We could, I'm a human trafficker.
We could save the world from an asteroid.
And they would still say, well,
Ethan will sit there in between his 8th and 9th taco.
I think they run a sex ring.
You know what's actually funny about since that thing?
I do run a sex ring. It's called my harem of girlfriends.
You know what's
They're all willing participants.
Exactly. What's funny is this. One, that there's dudes out there so soy. Imagine that. You catch your girl on Instagram at our house.
Yeah.
She says,
oh, they made me
come to this big party.
And she's dancing in the videos. She's dancing.
And she's dancing.
The police have the
Dude, so I'm not going to name names in this story. There's not like anything I could do or anybody involved could do about this anyway, but I'm not going to name names in this story. I had a friend who told me a story about a guy that he knew that he worked with. And he went to this guy's house, and this guy was going to throw a party, and he was going to be inviting over a couple of girls. Basically, when this guy talked to my friend about, like, these girls that were coming over, that this guy had invited over to his house along with his friend, what he basically explained was that he wanted them to rape these girls. And he was like, my friend was like, what? Excuse me? What? You like what? He basically like wanted to get them drunk, like blackout drunk, and get them to engage in like an orgy type deal, like a five-way type deal, like blackout drunks. They'd be like, it's rape. What he was describing was absolutely rape. And my friend was like, no, what the fuck? And you know what this guy started to say to my friend? You know what, this happened like 10 years ago, Natty411. That's why I said there's nothing that can be done about this. You know what this guy said to my friend? He said, "Oh, dude, be a real man. What are you fucking pussy? What are you a fucking pussy?" Started calling him a pussy and challenging his masculinity to trying to say, "What are you, a fucking pussy?" As if it makes you some kind of like a less of a man to be against raping women. He never spoke to that guy again. My friend never spoke to that guy again. Yeah. What are you, a beta cuck? Well, I don't think beta cuck were words people used back then, but that basically exactly the type of mindset. What Andrew Tate and his brother, I assume here, are doing is basically challenging and trying to bruise the masculinity of any guy who might be thinking to themselves, bro, what they're saying is kind of fucked up. Before they can even think that, they say, oh, by the way, if you think that this is a problem, you're a fucking soy boy. You're not a real man. What's the matter with you if you think it's a problem? What are you a fucking pussy? What are you, a soy boy? What are you, a cuck? What are you, a beta? And if you challenge men's masculinity enough, they might start to become okay. Like, that might work. The problem is that guy who tried to get my friend to engage in that probably worked before. That whole "what are you, a pussy" thing probably worked before. There's a reason that guy said that. And you can get dudes to do some fucked up shit if you can get them to believe they won't be a real man unless they do it. That was pretty much what Breaking Bad was about, if we're being honest. The things you can get a man to do if you convince him he won't be a real man unless he does them, you know?
Video. She's dancing around twerking.
And you sit there and go, oh my God, she's kidnapped. Are you okay, baby?
I'm gonna save you.
Now, awkward laugh at the end aside, now, of course, the Tates would say that this is clearly a girl that decided to fly over, join their party, and her significant other noticed her on Instagram and decided to contact authorities. Now, the entire idea of, like, not being under duress, oh, somebody's just dancing around, I guess it's all fine and dandy. You know, this is the kind of stuff that I read on the articles. I constantly got quoted over this stuff, too. There was one that I was looking at where they were literally looking over CCTV footage of, like, these women at the Tate compound, and they were basically saying, hey, these guys are super rich and wealthy. Why? Clearly, these women could get to the front door. Why couldn't they run away? Now, of course, in scenarios that involve trafficking, it's not always as cut and dry like that, okay?
So this is the issue that like movies and TV shows have caused with a lot of people. People think that sex trafficking is usually like a bunch of women in a cage in a basement somewhere, and like that's what sex trafficking is. They don't understand that like movies and TV shows are not an accurate depiction of how real life crimes work, okay? Breaking Bad, for example, is not a realistic depiction of drug dealers or drug addicts, okay? Like, this is an issue with people watching TV and thinking, oh, Andrew Tate doesn't look like a TV show sex trafficker. His compound doesn't look like a dingy TV show sex trafficker compound. How could that be true?
Just because somebody's dancing and happy doesn't mean that there's not an element of coercion that goes on. I'm not saying that it applies necessarily to this case, but to simply just say, haha, somebody could go to the front door, they could run away easily. I mean, run away where? If you were actually being coerced, imagine if you had your documentation taken away. Imagine if, you're going up against more powerful people. What are you going to do? Run away, contact the authorities in a corrupt country? I mean,
yeah, go run out the door of this rich man's fucking compound in one of the most corrupt countries on the index, and go figure it out. You're an American white girl who's currently escaping a sex trafficking situation. Go now, run out of the front door and try to find your way back to America. Go figure it out. You're gonna get taken back by Andrew Tate. You're gonna end up right back in Andrew Tate's compound. He's got agents out there. He's like Negan of Romania. I don't know. He's like the Negan of Romania. He's got a bunch of people out there. You'll be like going down the road and he's got a roadblock. If you can't tell, me and my friend's been rewatching The Walking Dead. He's gonna have roadblocks and booby traps set up on the road. You'll be trying to get out of the country, get to the nearest airport, and he's got a roadblock set up with his guys. I don't know. This is getting, I'm too fucking high.
I mean, logically think these things through. But of course, let's get back to the entire scenario. This guy, all right, who notices
Xanderhall, as a Romanian, if an abuse victim goes to the cops, they tell her, well, it's probably your fault. Have you tried talking to him? Stop wasting our time. Yeah, worst magician on ice. He literally said that's why he moved to Romania in the first place. The guy is... Listen, most of what's out there right now is not, like, hard evidence. That's the thing, right? Like, there is a currently going investigation right now, and that's one thing. There's the charges that he had sent against him in the UK. But, like, right so far... there hasn't been like a smoking gun silver bullet yet, right? That makes it hard to definitively say he did this or he did that. But what I would point to is look at the overwhelming quantity of what there is. The 11 charges, the initial charge he got that caused the police to investigate him. Just putting aside everything he says on the internet, the him moving to Romania where they have the corruption, the pimping, the everything else. Does it not seem like a lot of these dots are connecting here for the picture to not be what it's starting to look like? You know? It's like you're playing, what's the game show with the blanks and you have to, like, say a couple letters and then they fill out the letters and you have to try to guess the word with as few letter guesses as possible. What's that game called? The boomer version of Wordle. Is it Wheel of Fortune? Yeah, Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, it is. Wheel of Fortune, yeah. It's like Wheel of Fortune, you know? It's like you've got, like, most of the letters filled out on Wheel of Fortune, and for some reason, you're just not brave enough to say the word that you know it is, you know?
his girlfriend, who I guess is missing and is in some party in some other side of the world, why would they suddenly decide to contact not just the authorities, but the U.S. State Department to get involved into it? Now, the U.S. State Department gets involved. They're not saying anything because investigations are ongoing. And all of a sudden, you have Romanian authorities actually sending out raids at the behest, it seems, from U.S. agents. I mean, there's a lot to really unpack here, and it goes beyond simply laughing it off. I mean, I'm not saying that this person is a trafficker, so to speak, but even if you look inside their various other websites, and if you look inside their various other, ventures, if you will, even if you go to Cobra's website or Tate's website, it came out where, like, he's talking about his empire, his webcam business. And while I can't find this now on the website, I'm sure that there's an archive. This is what I found through Reddit, if you will, like people were screenshotting his websites beforehand. He literally goes off and says, hey, most of my webcams, you know, these women are not from professional adult spheres. A lot of them are girlfriends that I've made, and I've pimped them out on the internet effectively. And he doesn't realize how bad this sounds, especially when it comes on to an ongoing investigation.
Okay, Cherry. If you're watching this right now, I need you to... Okay, do I make this a second separate? No, I'm gonna do a segment with a friend of mine that's a sex worker about this, I think. I think that's what I'm gonna do instead. I'll do it at a later date. That topic is something that, like, I don't think I want to do just me. I think I want it to be sort of a semi-interview, semi-prepared segment with a friend of mine who is a sex worker instead. I think that'd be a better way to do it. It'd be a little bit better. There's a very... What he's doing here is so phenomenally fucked up. A boyfriend, or, like, coercing his girlfriend, or even, like, playing any part in convincing his partner into getting into sex work is so fucking sus. Oh, God. Okay, so... I've already mentioned it earlier in the stream. Doing sex work can get you blacklisted from jobs. Nude images of you being on the internet never go away. It'll always be there. Friends and family members will always be able to find it. Blacklisted from jobs, potential places to live. But depending on where you live, it could be illegal. It can make you at a higher risk of potential, like, online harassment and stuff like that, and people doxing and swatting you and stuff like that. Just like the shit Keffels is going through. There's a lot of like similarities between being a sex worker and a leftist political streamer. You wouldn't fucking believe it. Anyway, with that said, though, it's a really... What he did, like, if that's what happened, that is so much more fucked up than you can imagine. I will get a little bit more into that in that prepared segment down the road. I don't know if I want to do that now. Never mind, Cherry. Don't worry about that. But, yeah.
especially an investigation regarding human trafficking. Again, to the people that follow it, I have to ask you the question from the beginning. Is really alpha to be a pimp, which is one of the lowest rung jobs any man could do? But of course, even beyond that, there's a lot of stuff to unpack over here. And for people who are just simply going to brush off these trafficking allegations, it's one thing to understand this is an ongoing, current investigation. So who knows what comes out of it? Maybe Tate is completely absolved. Maybe he isn't. I do want to say for the people that are definitely critical of Tate, very critical, to take it easy with just simply saying this person is a 100% human trafficker. Because if the chance comes out that he isn't, he's definitely going to use this as ammunition against the mainstream media or the people that are against him to further incite the fans of his to believe, nothing that you would say, nothing that people who are actually critical of Tate would say. This is an ongoing investigation, but it's definitely okay to say there's some suspect things going on. That said, let's move on.
The next wild stage is obviously Andrew's next big business involves getting into the whole casino game, to which, when you actually listen to some of Andrew's connections in Romania, it starts to sound really shady. So, of course, there's been weird speculation that the Tate brothers are involved with the Romanian mafia. And there's a few videos and clips of Andrew Tate talking where it gets a little suspicious. And listen to this.
With women naked on the internet, who own casinos, who drive around Bucharest, Romania,
They own casinos,
over $2 million worth of fucking supercars. Everyone's afraid of us. And if anyone did piss us off at any point, even if we didn't want to fuck them up ourselves, we can make one phone call and they'd either be in a ditch or lose their any right to stay here. They'd have some visa issue, we kicked out the country, or arrested for no reason and put in a jail cell for months at a time. We are basically
Whoa. What was number one again? Can we go back in time and listen to that? Hold on a second.
phone call and they'd either be in a ditch or lose their
One phone call and they'd be in a ditch. Almost sounds like this guy has some friends that can make things happen. Almost sounds this guy has like mafia friends that can. Almost sounds like he knows fixers or something. It's super odd listening to that. So of course that's something that he's claimed. That's literally from the Tate Speech channel. Of course, even on a live stream with the other Fortnite streamers, he actually mentioned something even suspicious as well. Listen to this.
Fortnite streamers?
Andrew, have you ever killed someone?
What's this Twitch, bro? I can't be saying certain things on Twitch.
So that's a yes.
It's not a yes, it's not a no.
Oh, so it's just, yeah, okay.
And it also depends. Like, more
Oh yeah, for those of you guys that don't know, Andrew Tate calls Clicks a spoiled brat after explaining how he plays Fortnite for a living. Jesus Christ. For those of you guys that don't know, Clicks is a professional Fortnite streamer. I don't know if this is like a friendly conversation. I remember this guy was dick riding Andrew Tate last time I saw like him in a Discord call.
to answer the question professionally, which I will, it also depends, right? Because it depends. Would having, for example, complete hyperbole, let's say you got a member of your energy team to kill someone, would you, and
He just said hyperbole! He just said hyperbole! He's never said hyperbole said out loud! He's never heard the word hyperbole said out loud. Is there any actual, like, was that literally just like a Vosh moment of pronouncing something so far from correctly? It's just, did he just have a Vosh moment? He just had a Vosh moment, holy shit. What did I hear Vosh pronounce weirdly the other night? I literally came into Vosh's stream the other night, and he pronounced something, he said Appalachia, or something. It was bad. It was something bad. It was like a couple nights ago. I just hopped in and it was bad. Cowardice. Yeah, it might have been that. Yeah, he says that. Listen, okay? Bro, if I ever got something that bad, I'd be calling my local vacuum cleaner repair shop and asking for a new dust filter for my Hoover Deluxe Pro. I don't remember what it was. Hoover Max Pro Suction. I need a new dust filter for my Hoover Max Pro. Okay, Dust Master something. I don't remember.
you ordered the hit, would you be the person who killed him?
Yes. In Fortnite, yeah.
All right, cool.
So it's basically, so you're basically playing like Fortnite, but in real life. I get it.
Oh, but life is a video game, right? We live in
So beyond just these two streamers listening and entertaining this thing, I have to really ask the question how you can entertain a person that is apparently admitting at least twice that they have the connections in the country and the ability to deal with people in a very violent manner. Sometimes they could take their passport away, sometimes they could be in a ditch in the ground. You know, and I have to ask the people who follow and support this guy, how do you support somebody that has basically aligned themselves with criminals? The people that Andrew Tate may be referring to in this case, the mafia if you will, are no more different than drug dealers, drug pushers, terrorists, actual criminals that commit terrible crimes. To respect a criminal means absolutely putting yourself at such a base level. These criminals deserve no respect, but deserve just a bullet to the head. And sometimes they need to be put through the same punishments they exact on other people, victims of theirs.
Okay, so I recently, alright, we're getting spicy, okay? I recently did some drama. I recently did some drama on Twitter, okay? A very minor drama, okay? I think Hunter Avalon ended up getting canceled for it. I really wish sometimes I could just, like, take control of another person's Twitter account to reword their take in a different way so that they're, because like I know what Hunter's take is and I agree with it, but I just kept seeing him say it in just the worst possible ways. I was just like, bro, just let me tweet it for you, dude. Just let me tweet your take for you here, man. I got you, bro. I really wanted to. I wish I could have been his Twitter translator there. But we got into a little bit of a disagreement initially. My take was that, I believe very strongly that retributive and especially violent retributive justice, based around like revenge and punishment, not rehabilitation and a utilitarian desire to improve the world, and to make the world a better place. I believe in these things, obviously. Like, I believe in prison reform. I don't believe in capital punishment. I think these are bad things. I don't believe that the state should ever have the right to kill you unless you are like actively, currently a threat to other human lives. At the same time, I also discussed the fact that I think you can hold that position while also emotionally venting. Imposter sus vented. While also emotionally venting about like the things that you would do to these people, right? Like in my example was I think it's possible to simultaneously believe in reformative justice for like pedophiles who want to get help to not like want to rape kids anymore. I believe that you can believe that while at the same time personally thinking pedophiles are such fucking disgusting pieces of shit. Yeah, I think that's still, I think that's a fine, okay, feeling to have. And I think it's somewhat okay to have that as well, like broader to like other forms of criminality as well. But I think you do have to be careful with it too. I think it's a little over the top. I don't think that like Andrew Tate should be shot in the head. Not if I was president of the world, I would have Andrew Tate put into a padded cell with a therapist, frankly, is what I would do. And have his assets seized and redistributed to needing communities. But regardless, we're getting too deep into that. I wouldn't have Andrew Tate shot in the head is my point. I think it's okay to be like, oh, fuck, I hate that piece of shit, rapist asshole, he should be shot in the head. Well, at the same time, I think it's important to say, your criminals shouldn't be fucking killed. The criminals shouldn't be killed. Come on. Let's not go too crazy. Not like actually. Not just cuz.
How Tate can align himself with these kind of people and still be respected by the manosphere, the incels that follow him, the people who believe this is what being an alpha is about. No, being an alpha is about having a strong moral compass, not aligning yourself with scumbags like this, and basically doing the right thing. What Andrew Tate is doing is running shortcuts, becoming an internet...
I do disagree with that, Zan. Listen. If you think Andrew Tate should be shot in the head, that's your prerogative, my friend. I'm afraid I can't help you. I will not be able to. We can't duo together, I'm afraid. We cannot run that Fortnite duo up in Romania. I will not be joining you. That is your Minecraft mission to pursue, my dude. Listen, okay? I'm in favor of rehabilitative justice on a systemic level. I do not believe that the state should be allowed to just fucking hold you in a cell and say, we're gonna fucking kill you because you did a thing. Sit in this cell until your fucking death date. And we, the state, are gonna kill you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't like that. I don't like capital punishment. I don't like retributive justice. I don't think the victim should ever have any say in the punishment of the victimizer. I think that does not lead to justice. I think that leads to revenge. Revenge and justice are not the same thing, okay? They're not the same thing.
Pimp, making millions through using women, basically defrauding men from what we've seen in the past, and effectively aligning themselves with the most unsavory types of people. People that harm women, children, men all around the world simply because they can, and they use the easiest way to make money in life. Who Andrew Tate aligns himself with are better off dead.
Sometimes they're the same. Usually that can only be determined in hindsight. For example, if a young girl is held against her will by an older man and raped repeatedly, and she has no way to get out of the situation, and one day she murders the guy, just outright, well, I wouldn't even call it murder, really, but she kills the guy, just takes a fucking kitchen knife and guts him, I guess. I would consider that justice. I would. I'd consider it justice. However, I would not consider it justice for the police to take him, hold him in a cell for 3 years or so, and tell him, you're going to die on this date, and then being brought defenselessly in handcuffs to a room where he's strapped down and either injected with so the death penalty, it can be a few different things. I believe are there still states that still do gas chamber? I know recently there were still states that did the gas chamber. Basically, the way that they execute you with the death penalty with the gas chamber in America, at least, the way they did it was they put you in a chamber, into a big cast iron chamber. They strap you into a chair, and then they tell you then they say, all right, we're about to flood the room with cyanide gas. I recommend you take deep breaths, because if you take big, deep breaths as soon as the gas fills the room, you'll pass out and die faster. But if you take small breaths and try to hold your breath, you'll just drag it out and choke to death. That's what they tell you. Sometimes, if you're lucky, that's what they tell you when you go into the gas chamber for the death penalty. Obviously, that's one of the most extreme and gruesome examples of the gas, like actual gas. Yeah, they did that. They executed people by gas chamber in like Texas and shit, like recently, I'm pretty sure. More conservative states are the ones that are in favor of stuff like the gas chamber and like firing squad and the more like brutal forms of capital punishment. No doubt, like obviously conservative states are the ones more in favor of that. But that was the thing I believe done in America recently. Not when I say recently, I mean like, yeah. Anyway, hold on. Let me actually see. America last gas chamber execution. When was the last time America gassed somebody? So I just got a story. So here's a story from The Guardian, 2021. Arizona refurbishes its gas chambers to prepare for executions, documents reveal. The state of Arizona is preparing to kill death row inmates using hydrogen cyanide. Hey! There it is, chat! Hydrogen cyanide. Well, I was wrong. I said cyanide gas. It's hydrogen cyanide. The same lethal gas that was developed at Auschwitz. Documents obtained by The Guardian reveal that Arizona's Department of Corrections has spent more than $2,000 in procuring the ingredients to make cyanide gas. It's very cheap to make. The department bought a solid brick of potassium cyanide in December for $1,530. It also purchased sodium hydroxide pellets and sulfuric acid. The way they do it is so fucking scuffed, too. Oh my god. This is such a weird stun lock. Maybe you can cut this out into a separate segment, Cherry, like Zan's stun locks about capital punishment and the death penalty or something. What they do to kill you in the gas chambers is so it's a mix, right? You have the main solution, then a pellet, and when they mix, it makes a hydrogen cyanide gas, right? And like they literally just have a guy with like a pulley that pulls a lever and it drops the pellet in. And it's like this, and it like makes the gas happen and fills the room. It's like, so a guy like pulls a string or like pulls a lever and it drops like a platform that drops the pellet into a bucket of the material, right? It's so fucking scuffed. Yeah, so apparently they're currently preparing to do that in Arizona. So they're still doing it. I was wrong when I said they don't do it anymore. They still do it here in America. They're still gassing death row inmates, and that is how it goes. If you're lucky, they will tell you to take a few big, deep breaths right when it starts. Otherwise, you will choke to death, and it'll be long and excruciating. It basically just fills the membrane. It causes the membranes of your... It's a lot like mustard gas, right? Where it causes the membranes of your esophagus and your respiratory system to start flooding with mucus and other sorts of pusses and whatnot, and you just drown alive on land. Yeah, pretty fucked up that America's doing that right now. But of course, it'd be Arizona, one of the reddest of red states.
Ed. And I also don't really believe that Andrew Tate has these kind of connections, because I feel like if you were connected to any of these criminal fronts, they would not take too kindly to you admitting this in front of millions of people. A person like this, with such a big mouth of theirs, would probably end up dead. So to be real with you, I think this man is kind of A, just flexing to 12-year-olds who think this is somehow badass
Probably.
and haven't grown up, or B, he's really just that stupid. And hopefully, beyond just deplatforming,
I do think a lot of it is probably a facade. I don't know how much of Andrew Tate is a character meant to impress 12-year-olds, but it's... I hope it's a lot. I hope a lot of it is just a facade, but it's hard to say. It really is hard to say these days.
Right, which he has been on Facebook and Instagram. This is actually against the TOS of like YouTube and various other services. I'm not somebody that believes deep platformation sometimes is the key, simply because it pushes a lot of his followers into a more extreme viewpoint. Sometimes they'll be like, this guy was right all along. This is the truth they don't want you to hear. Look at how mainstream media shut him down. Reality, like, this stuff should be countered. The children that
I'd be okay with that method, TBH. Sorry, some crimes just warrant it. I'm sorry, you're an evil person. Like, if you believe that. I don't believe that, like, you genuinely believe in, like, that's not too, like, you're basically like primed for fascism. You believe that there are people that are completely too far gone. You believe there are people that are ontologically evil, and no matter what, they deserve to die. That's what you believe. I don't think that's very based, frankly. That's just my take. There are some people who will never change and cannot be helped, so they should be killed? Bro, how the fuck can you call yourself in any way do you think you're in any way libertarian? Do I have people in my chat right now defending the death penalty, defending capital punishment, defending the concept of killing people because they're too far gone? Are you fucking serious? All right, mods. Do we got mods in chat right now? Mods? Listen, there are some people in my community, as they say, that are just too far gone. Use their world philosophy against them. That's all I have to say.
follow this and the young adults that follow this need to be taught that following somebody that aligns himself with the most unsavory types of individuals is not somebody that deserves respect. It's somebody that deserves complete jail time. And again, I just want to ask for the followers, what part of what I just said do you necessarily disagree with? How is this badass and alpha? How is aligning yourselves with criminals somehow the manly thing to do? It's just something I want to ask, and I want to hear a refutation to it. Now, if you go to Andrew Tate's CobraTate.com, success is learned.
I just want to say, by the way, Mutahar definitely understood the message of Breaking Bad if he watched it. He probably watched it. It's a very popular show. If he watched Breaking Bad, he definitely got the message of the show. It did not go over his head.
Andrew Tate, world champion kickboxer. Grew up broke, and now I'm a multimillionaire. All right, let's go. Teachers are essential. Your net worth is your network. If you were in a group of 100 ice cream experts and all you spoke about was making ice cream, you'd learn a lot about how to make ice cream. It's the same with money. Sit down with people.
That is possibly the most pyramid scheme business pitch I've heard in my life. That I was watching Asmongold gambling in the gacha game that my friend got me addicted to earlier, and he made a joke about the gambling mindset, and it was like, hear me out. When gambling, you can only lose 100% of your money, but you can potentially win an infinite amount of percent of your money back. You do the math. And it was really, really funny, but then it got really grim when you realize that people actually think that way. They really, really do. There's a lot of people that think that way, and those are the people that fall for this pyramid scheme pitch.
People and learn about making money. That is what it is. Get money, get women, get fit. People love to say you can accomplish anything. I'm going to be completely honest with you. That's bullshit. Very few people have the dedication and work ethic to operate in the top 1% of men. Those that do often don't know how to get there. Understand, if you're dedicated and ready to work hard, it's not enough. You need to know what to work on, what to dedicate yourself to. I broke the matrix, and I'll teach you how. Of course, you can believe a man with image intimidation tactics, like standing in front of your goddamn Lamborghini with a fucking machete, dude. These people are not real, but they are. It's insane.
It reminds me of, like, one of those really cringy movie posters for one of the early seasons of Supernatural, where it's Sam and Dean standing in front of the Impala with, like, big knives. And it's super, like, dramatic, and the editing on, like, the touch-ups are just over the top as fuck. That image just reminded me of that. Just trying so hard to be edgy. You guys, if you know, then you know. You know exactly what image I'm talking about right now, if you know what I'm referencing.
So, of course, what'll happen is if you go down even further, it gets even crazier. Tales of Wudon. In a previous life, I lived 5,000 human years atop Wudon Mountain. I remember...
Lore? Andrew Tate does think we live in the Matrix, by the way. He is actually mentally unwell. This is his OC. Yeah, oh my god, this is his kin. Wait, isn't there like a thing, like a something kin for this? Is there a thing for this? Like a reincarnation kin or something? I'm sure there's gotta be a YouTube community about this. There's gotta be. Alright, let's learn the deep lore, okay? This is like fucking... this is like video game lore, like an MMO's lore or something.
Every lived second. Life is competition. Competition is violence. In many modern forms of competition, we have attempted to water down the violent aspects, to replicate violence in the most sanitized way. I'm not going to keep reading it. You can read the ebook right here if you really care about it. What he actually does sell, beyond everything, is the Hustlers University 2.0. Can you make money today? No job, but still money arriving into your bank account? Yes or no? Welcome to Hustlers University 2.0, a community...
Holy shit, he got out in front of the criticisms of people that would say, if Hustlers University is so good, how come there's no Hustlers University 2? He got out right in front of them.
Where me and dozens of war room soldiers will teach you exactly how to make money. This is a community where you can get access to stock analysis, options play, crypto analysis, DeFi, e-commerce, copywriting, freelancing, flipping, financial planning, business management, and more. What do you mean and more? Give me some more. Give me everything. Tell me everything here, okay? Sell me on everything. Every professor is verified by me personally. Each of them is making anywhere between 10,000...
Chat, can I be completely honest with you guys? When I add and more into the title of one of my videos, it's because I can't think of another thing. And I'm really hoping that I come up with another thing to add in halfway through the stream. Because I can't think of another thing. So I just add and more. And hope that's enough. Real moment with Zan.
To $500,000 a month? That's a pretty big range there, Andrew. Jesus. I choose fields that anyone anywhere can do now to get rich. No bullshit, no fluff. Just hard-hitting lessons. And it's only $49 to enjoy. It's time to get rich. Hustlers University.
Oh, thank God I'm not the only one doing that. Oh, trust me. Trust me, everyone does it. Vosh does it, Destiny does it. No streamer goes into their stream knowing 100% of what they're going to be covering, talking about, and doing that stream. Usually we go in with, like, maybe a couple of topics we're going to cover, and then we basically would probably go with, like, I don't know how Vosh does it, but I'm sure that, like, Vosh probably does it like this too. And I imagine Shark and, like, Demon Mama probably do it this way. I don't know if Destiny does, he probably does as well, but, like, all I know going to my streams is I write down the topics I'm going to cover, and obviously I know about the topics I'm going to cover, like, enough to discuss them, and I know I'm going to talk about them. And then I completely blind react to the video, or I read an article, or I discuss a situation, or whatever, and it's all fucking improv. All off the top of my head. None of this shit's really that prepared.
And of course, you go over here to Hustlers University, and you pay him $49.99 per month, by the way, to join this entire group of people who can learn how to get rich. And of course, he's given a lot of, I guess you could say, proof. I guess men just sit around in Discord all day, basically talking about how much they've earned. Kind of weird. Of course, also beyond that, Tate's also got the War Room, and the War Room is even wilder. The War Room is a global network which exists on planet Earth. Looks like some fake-ass Illuminati, dude. The War Room is a global organization with members, bases, and influences in over 70 countries. The network contains a varied expertise which allows us to exert influence globally. Okay? Every member has either achieved or is working towards the ultimate goal of all intelligent men, freedom in a world of slavery. How would joining our network change your life? Of course, let's go down to see how much this costs. Okay, let's actually see what's going on. How much it costs to join the War Room? $4,147. Jesus Christ. I'm going to call and say that this sounds like Amway for, like, rich boys who want to jump in and basically figure out people who are getting basically scammed and probably...
This is Zoomer Tech Bro Amway. You are on the fucking dot. This is Zoomer Tech Bro Amway. That is what this is. For those of you guys that don't know what Amway is like the #1 pyramid scheme. Chances are, if you're older, then you've probably known a parent or just an older, like, if you're older, then you probably knew someone who was older that was into Amway and fell for that shit. It was a big thing back in the day. Pyramid schemes used to be a big problem back in, like, the early, mid-2000s is when I think they were the biggest.
Probably learning how to scam other people. Now, of course, Hustlers University 2.0, if you actually just go on to Google and look around, there's plenty of ads that keep getting fed to you. And if I click on one of them right here, Andrew Tate's Hustler University, you can go down and understand just exactly what kind of shit they're trying to teach you. Affiliate marketing, MLM crap, yep. Amazon FBA e-commerce. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We're getting into the real hustling, aren't we? See, the moment you see affiliate marketing and Amazon FBA...
By the way, I should say, this is like Muda does, like, some really good videos taking down, like, anything from... He's really good at just internet history in general. Part of that involves, like, investigating deep web stuff. Some of that involves talking about crypto. Some of that involves talking about internet finance. And a lot of that involves talking about, like, online scamming and stuff like that. He talks about that stuff all the fucking time. He teamed up with CoffeeZilla, yeah. And so, like, he's gonna know an online crypto scam if he sees one. He's gonna see the red flags, and he's seeing them, and I trust him, okay? If he says there's red flags, I trust him, okay? He knows about this shit. I've watched countless videos this dude has done exposing online, like, crypto scams, rug pull shit, all that kind of stuff.
Is the moment you run the fuck away. You see, a lot of these courses that are $50 a month really just give you the most basic bargain bin advice that you could ever imagine, right? And it's the same kind of shit you could take 5 seconds to Google search and come across. What Andrew Tate is selling you is nothing new. Andrew Tate is basically profiting off of weak-willed individuals who just want to get rich quicker, okay? They want to learn how to hustle. They want to learn how to make money online. They want to learn how to do freelancing and copying, learn how to make money in cryptos and NFTs. And again, these people will say, this is not financial investment advice. They'll tell you how to invest. They'll tell you about real estate. And the funniest part about real estate is you pretty much already kind of have to have fucking a crap ton of money before you try to make anything in that space too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Making money off of real estate might be it is the easiest and most profitable way to make money. It just is. If you can get into real estate investment, like being a landlord is legitimately like an extremely good hustle. So, but the problem is you already have to have money going into it. You have to be able to buy a house. Like, guys, I've been a moderately successful question mark, if I'm allowed to say that, streamer and YouTuber for like 3 or 4 years now, maybe, and I can't even afford a house. Not even fucking close. I'm hoping I can get my first house by 30. That's my hope. Like, it is not, you can't just take a class and then know how to get into real estate investment. That's just not how it works. There's a reason why investing in real estate or like a home is the best investment you can make. As long as you put work into it, home investment generally only ever increases in value. It is, you have to be a real asshole to buy a house and then have it decrease in value. Like, worse comes for worse, you can demolish it and sell the land. And eventually the land will be worth more than what you paid for the initial price. Like, land is one of those things that's always going to be valuable. Even if the house itself isn't valuable, the land you bought that it's on will be valuable. Like, yeah.
What he's basically teaching you is like...
To be clear, what I'm saying here is Andrew Tate teaching real estate advice is, 1, unfeasible for the vast majority of people that would be paying $50 for that class, and 2, anything you would be learning about real estate investment from a $50 class is not worth paying $50 for, and is not going to be anything that you don't already know from like a baseline of knowing anything about the world, or having ever rented, or having ever talked to or dealt with a landlord before, or having ever learned about or considered buying a house before.
Hey, how do rich people just learn?
In other words, only children, preteens, and 13 and 14-year-old boys fall for this shit. And dudes that have the mindset of them.
How to snowball their money into getting rich. The people who are actually rich in this scenario, okay, do not need courses like this. Just imagine for a second, put this into your head. Why is it, if I'm the rich guy, why would I teach you how to also be rich? At the end of the day, finances are a giant cake, okay? At the end of the day, the cake is finite. Why the hell would I teach you how to get a slice of cake when I could have the whole goddamn cake to myself? When it comes to money, I'm not here to get type 3 up in this bitch, okay? That's what it comes to. Anybody that sells you a course is literally profiting off of your gullibility. They're not there to make money for them. They're probably making money on the side, but these courses that they sell you are literally them siphoning money out of the fucking weak-willed out there. You want to learn how to make money, you want to learn how to grind, get a financial advisor, get a money manager. That's how it works. They're the ones that can help you. That's how you get rich over time.
Not to mention, honestly, most good financial advice that you can find, you can get for free. If financial advice is paywalled, you're already failing. Any decent financial advisor would tell you, don't pay for financial advice. Good financial advice is free because people who make good financial decisions or want to don't pay for financial advice. Like, there are pretty decent, like, free sources for that kind of information. I've been doing a lot of research on that stuff myself lately.
There ain't no success on getting rich quick, unless you start going down some criminal route, which is always going to end badly. Here's a pretty good explanation onto this too by one Redditor. So I've explained this before and I'll try to explain it again. The whole point of a paywall is networking. You're paying that money for access. The truth is Andrew Tate is successful because of his boxing, and it's alleged he's also involved in illicit dealings. I don't know how true this is. So you need to understand this reality before you spend money. My opinion is Tate is not a successful businessman, but a successful influencer. These people are in it for the money because they failed in other business ventures and realized being provocative for clout makes them easy money. They are not the people you want to pay to network with. Find self-made millionaires. They're everywhere. Look on YouTube, for example. These people almost never ask for money or sell courses, and these resources are readily available on the internet if you're willing to do the effort.
Exactly. That's exactly what I just fucking said. All this shit is out there for free. Do not fall for some asshole trying to make you pay for financial advice.
Suggestion is never give these people money. Nothing they have to offer is new. However, if you do spend money, understand you're potentially growing your circle and expanding your networking with like-minded individuals. You'd have a better experience finding a community of people on Reddit than going from there. Most of your problems can be solved if you just know how to navigate what you're trying to succeed in. Absolutely amazing advice right there, and it costs you $0 to experience it. Absolutely perfect. So to tie off this entire video, this project's taken me a bit of a while, a week and a half really, just of sitting down and watching this. To be real with you, coming across this person was laughable because it really looked like a GT Online character. But of course, the further you dig into it, the more it goes from just misogyny to downright near criminal elements. Now, of course, obviously, to get to the summarization of this entire piece, obviously, Andrew Tate's final goal is to basically spread his message throughout all these social media platforms. If you actually look into all these channels that have kicked up, we looked at it earlier in the video, shit like Million Motivations or Tate. There are so many unofficial channels that it really does feel like some sort of op is taking place where Andrew Tate benefits from having a bunch of people take his stream content that he's honestly doing through other streamers. Streamers jump onto him, streamers bring him on, they play him, people like, Aiden Ross, if you will. They platform him, he makes a statement, he makes some speeches, he says about outlandish shit. People watching that stream clip it, and then they upload it to TikTok and various other first-tier media platforms. It gets spread around through the algorithm. And obviously, there's something to consider that even the algorithms constantly keep pushing this kind of content. But so people look at this content, and for Andrew Tate,
So, the hard truth at the end of the day is, all of these large platforms, they're all companies. They're private companies. At the end of the day, their job, their sole purpose, their number one goal is to make money as much as possible. As much as they can, without destroying the company in the short term, of course, within reason. There are certain boundaries they can't cross, but within those boundaries they've set, within those margins, they try to make as much money as they can conceivably make. If you are Google, or the people running YouTube, and Andrew Tate is on the platform, come on. Susan Wojcicki herself knows Andrew Tate is on the platform. Susan herself, without a fucking doubt, knows about Andrew Tate. There's no way she doesn't. Do you guys really think that she might, the CEO of YouTube, doesn't know who Andrew Tate is? I think he probably does. I think she probably does. I think she probably does know who he is. And I don't think that YouTube cares about any of these figures. Steven Crowder, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, any of these figures, as long as they are making them enough money and the risk is low enough. Andrew Tate just got banned off of a mainstream platform. I think his end is coming soon. Once you get banned off of one of these platforms and you're a large figure like that, and you're getting this much media attention, the rest come quickly after. It's already starting to become apparent to platforms like YouTube that the cost-benefit analysis is leaning against Andrew Tate's favor. For years, Andrew Tate has gotten away with saying this stuff and making shit tons of money and making YouTube and TikTok and other platforms shit tons of money because there just wasn't enough negative attention on them for it to be a negative impact on them. However, now, you better believe as the ire towards Andrew Tate gets ramped up, all of a sudden these platforms are going to start to pretend like they suddenly learned of his existence, like he was this unknown, hidden, dark corner of their platform that they had no clue about. No. To YouTube, to Twitch, to all of these platforms, Twitter and TikTok, these are not dingy, dark, unknown corners of these platforms. These are giant, blistering pimples in the face of these platforms that they've desperately used makeup to try to conceal from the broader public because they know if these pimples get seen, then they could lose out on a lot. Andrew Tate's no doubt probably running head first towards the end of his career as it is today. I don't think he's going to be in the spotlight for much longer. People like him, the wick has burned quite bright, but that means it's going to burn for a very short amount of time. I don't think he has a lot of longevity online, And I think this is really just the beginning of the end for Andrew Tate. But I really do think this speaks to the way that these platforms operate. They will allow the most heinous speech to exist in their platforms, the most heinous figures that stand for the most heinous things to make money and spread their ideologies off of their platforms and make money off of them, until the last possible safe second to do so, throw those people to the wayside, and then pretend like they didn't know about it and like they don't stand for those beliefs. It really is, it really is a capitalism moment, isn't it?
The best possible case scenario for him is being outlandish, being trending all the time, having these kind of videos made on him, also that 1 or 2 people can jump into Hustlers University. Because that's the end goal of the situation, to get people involved into this weird online $50 program where honestly they can learn how to get rich or learn how to get all the women imaginable. Now, Andrew Tate's view on women is obviously misogynistic, obviously something that most normal people with a functional worldview would never agree with. Any actual person you talk to past the age of 18 that has a career, that has kids, that has something together in their life would never agree with something Andrew says. The kind of stuff that he says appeals to individuals that are early in their, in their teenage years, or children, people that, are easily molded. And they'll look at a guy that's rich, a guy that has Bugattis and all of his stuff, and they'll probably sit there flexing this man's wealth to other people. Like, what color's your Bugatti? Are you a top G? At the end of the day, we've seen that this man has weird allegations all around him. And again, they're just allegations. But given that there's current investigations regarding human trafficking, given that, it's gotten to the point where 2 countries have literally gotten involved, when you hear statements about, I'm moving to Romania because 40% of the reason is I don't have to deal with these legal hurdles that you would see in the United States or the United Kingdom or any country where corruption is not easier to access. Of course, when you read things like that and you look at these videos where even in his BDSM scenarios, these women are locking doors and obviously being distraught, you have to imagine just how much you can respect the man. If that stuff sounds weird to you, the man's entire empire was built off webcamming and casinos. The man literally peddles filth, and he peddles absolute addiction to individuals out there. People that he can absolutely defraud with parasocial relationships.
Damn, he's spitting.
Relationships and addictive vices. This is not somebody that you can respect. What Andrew Tate is a pimp, and from his statements, it appears that he's aligned in some capacity with highly corrupt elements or even criminal elements. You can't respect a man like this. He has nothing to. This is not an alpha male, and anybody that thinks this is an alpha male just hasn't grown up enough. At the end of the day, this is a simple way for this man to sell courses. And banning Andrew Tate, obviously, in the grand scheme of things, probably is important because it immediately curbs his spread. But Andrew Tate is not the only person in this. He's a cancer.
Oh shit! Wait, did he? Is this him? Like, kind of. Did he recant his take from Twitter? Because I saw the Twitter post where he said he doesn't believe that Andrew Tate should be banned, but here he's talking about it as if it's, like a good thing to do to stop the spread of his ideology. This was after Twitter? Okay, interesting. Hey, listen, guys, I'm telling you, I told you, Muda is not a fucking chud. He is a reasonable guy. He's not like a super politically, obsessed person like me or Vosh was arguing with him in the comments, or Vosh, but he generally, I feel like, lands not too, even if it's just him giving an uninformed take on an issue, I find he typically lands the dart not far from the bullseye, and it's not hard to get him land on the bullseye with the second throw after a very, very short conversation, or like a little, oh, hey, did you know this? And I'll be like, oh, shit, I know that. Okay. Oh, no, okay. Yeah, he seems like a very reasonable and smart guy. I like him. Out of all the large content creators that I know about and have even come into contact with through the whole YouTube thing, I feel like Muda is one of the most reasonable and well thought out in most of his beliefs. It seems like his core beliefs are very much solid. I just think that sometimes he isn't super obsessed with politics,
that is amongst a breed of cancers. This is part of the red pill community that a bunch of people subscribe to, a bunch of people go into, and they get their life learning from it. When in reality, these people just haven't gotten old enough to really see the world for what it is. Once you get past the age of 18, once you go to college, once you actually, or post-secondary or trade school or whatever, once you get a career, once you actually speak to multiple people and you develop and cultivate friendships, you'll find out just how bullshit Andrew Tate's things are, how Andrew Tate's experiences are, his lived-in experiences, the shit that he peddles onto the average person. Don't be wilded out that this is a simple man, all right? Not a simple man, but this is a man that wants to find a way to get you funneled into a $50 program that ultimately nets him millions cumulatively year after year. That's all it is. It's just a grift for a man to make money off of the complete stupid ones out there. $50 is not a lot of money, even for a child who has mommy's credit card or daddy's credit card attached. $50 to learn the secrets on getting rich and then not getting rich afterwards, for the most part, is something that honestly will reflect badly on the people falling for it. But for Andrew, it's just more cream and money on top of the empire. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Tate is a disgusting, deplorable human being. And if you consider him an alpha male, I have simple words to offer you. And that's grow the fuck. What you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.
He muted the fuck. All right, that was a damn good video. I'm gonna go ahead and drop it in the chat very fast. Go like it. Go subscribe if you're somehow not already subscribed to Some Ordinary Gamers, and go be based by doing that and all of that. And go comment. You guys have to comment Xanderhall said you're based, or Xanderhall sent me. Great video. Just I don't know. Improve, not only comment to improve the video in the algorithm and push it in the algorithm, but also do it so people know that they came from me. Zan the man, yeah. Anyway, the main point of this, in all seriousness, is that people like Andrew Tate are a dime a dozen, okay? There have been people with the exact same ideology who push the exact same shit as Andrew Tate in the past, and there'll be people just like him in the future. These things don't change. It's just the rotation of young people does. When this generation of 11 to 13-year-olds grows out of Andrew Tate's content and they realize he's a dumb fuck and a scammer, and they touch a girl for the first time and realize they don't hate all men and they aren't evil, they'll fall out of this shit and they'll realize it's all bullshit. But there will always be another generation of 11 to 13-year-olds to take their place. Now, I'm not saying that 11 to 13-year-old, mostly white boys, are, like, inherently prone to falling into horrific ideas. I think that a lot of this is honestly an issue having to do with our culture and the way that young men are treated, and the way that that expectations are sort of thrusted on them, right? That, like, as a guy, doesn't it feel like, even, like, as young as, for me at least, it feels like, as a straight cishet guy or whatever, it feels like since elementary school, at least, there's been, like, an expectation socially for maybe not to have a girlfriend, not to have even kissed a girl, but for at the very least for girls to find me attractive. If girls don't find me attractive, then I have less value or worth as a man. That is essentially the core of the sentiment that I've basically had ingrained in me implicitly from when I was very young until I was, quite a bit older, right? It wasn't something I kind of, trained out of myself until I got a bit older, and I cannot believe that this is a rare thought process among men. I can't believe it's a universal experience. That's what I thought. I do genuinely feel that a lot of, straight, heterosexual, cis men from a young age feel as though some amount of their worth is based on whether or not women, at the very least, find them sexually desirable. If you're not sexually desirable, able to provide money, or able to provide protection and safety, one or more of those things, men will feel as though they have no worth. They are completely useless. Like they don't have a reason to exist. That is genuinely, it feels like a universal expectation experience that has been ingrained in a lot of men. It is universal in the messaging of the far right. It seems to be implicit in a lot of the people that fall for this kind of stuff, but I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, if you enjoyed this segment, please consider leaving a like. It helps the channel and my videos out a lot. It's not just a simple hollow show of support. It actually does force my videos to get pushed more in the algorithm by YouTube. And of course, since Andrew Tate's fans will no doubt come in droves, in absolute droves, to dunk on my video, because they like to do that kind of thing, then make sure to comment down below, Andrew Tate is cringe, okay? We gotta outweigh the ratio. So Andrew Tate is cringe in the comments, please. I want to see it in mass. It'll also let me know that you watched the whole thing. So yeah. Also, of course, if you want to support me financially, you can do so completely voluntarily by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live. You can also support me on YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, or Patreon. But with all that said, thank you so much for supporting me, no matter how you do, whether it be in the form of a like, a view, or simply just a nice comment and chat, or even a donation. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.